doing something else. Can't imagine why. Watching this now. The live stream is available, I believe, for like the next week. If you pay the $15 for the live stream ticket, you can watch it because that's how it works. Eventually it's going to be gone.
Yeah, so we'll leave a link in the description again, or the description, so you can get it if you want.
Now, obviously, there were a bunch of commercials that all of your coworkers were excited to see and talk about. This is where we got the water cooler or whatever, the Slack version of a water cooler.
They were like, this is why work from home doesn't work for me. I have to pester you at the water cooler.
Who do I talk to about the ad?
They turned seal into a seal. We were all slapping our knees.
But yeah, only two in particular stood out. The first was a pretty good one. Yeah, I had Tim Robinson and Sam Richardson of Detroiters fame. Yeah, they did a Totino's Pizza Rolls commercial where an alien is killed in front of a bunch of children. It is pretty funny. The rest of the ads were just celebrity cameos in weird scenarios, including one commercial where apparently, starved for ideas, Mountain Dew turned the once highly regarded singer-songwriter Seal into an actual seal.
Whoa!
And they made him sing his Batman song for everyone.
Yes. It's time for you to do the humiliation ritual, Seal. Get up here.
But now for the bad.
Yeah.
It feels like we've been unintentionally foreshadowing this for the past week on the show, but I guess it's good that we started covering it early because otherwise it would seem pretty strange seeing an advertisement featuring Kanye West in a dentist chair, seemingly high on the nitrous, and telling people to go to his website and buy a shirt with a swastika on it. Yeah, that's what he's selling, and that's what he's advertising on the Super Bowl.
Also, just intentionally looking the other way from anyone who is accepting these advertisements, because is your head really that buried in the sand that you have no idea what Kanye West has been up to? The guy who is spending allegedly millions of dollars to advertising on your
book these things weeks and months in advance. And also, I mean, the swastika wasn't in the commercial.
Well, yeah.
I don't know. I mean, he's never sold anything quite like this before. I say that. Probably assumed it was like shoes. Maybe some homeless-looking clothes that cost exorbitant prices, not just a swastika t-shirt.
But since you watch this show, you are aware that Kanye recently, admittedly, went off his meds after self-diagnosing himself with autism and then going on an anti-Semitic pro-Hitler posting spree on President Elon Musk's social media platform. And leading up to all this, however, was the news that Kanye had gotten hooked on nitrous oxide, aka nitrous, aka laughing gas, or just fancy whippets, because you're getting them from a doctor.
A really, really buff doctor.
Yes, that doctor is a big old beef. He got the white coat, but no sleeves. Well, those sleeves, they blew off when he flexed to you.
It was a normal lab coat before, but then, flexed.
He's like the Hulk in that sense. Yes, that guy's name is Thomas Connolly, and that was the dentist who was included on those leaked text messages that Milo Yiannopoulos,
can I have the nitrous?
Yeah, and he agreed to supply Kanye with that nitrous after being asked directly, can I have the nitrous today? So Kanye, I guess, spent a bunch of money on airtime and then just recorded himself in what I assume is his dentist chair.
Yeah, he can afford it.
In his own home, probably, with his nitrous tanks, and seeming like he was pretty out of it. He tells the audience of what you would assume was over 100 million people to go to his website. And on that website, you could buy one item in particular, just one, a white t-shirt with a large swastika in the middle of it. And what did he mean by that? Well, the item number, I guess, was HH01 for Heil Hitler 01. And
what do you mean by that?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess it's still pretty confusing. I just can't understand what he's trying to say.
Well, you know, he's a genius. That Kanye.
It really gets the people talking. There was some, I can't even remember, I watched so many news shows in the morning with someone just be like, he's out there getting the people talking again, and it's just like, is everyone just willfully ignorant to the fact that he's Nazi posting all day and all night?
Yeah, and I'm jealous of those people. And they're just like, oh, that's Kanye. But also, he did this already.
Yeah.
We already went through all this.
For those people, they said the last crazy thing he did was do that church service on a mound in Coachella, where he like made them build in a mountain.
All right.
But then they memory hold all the Nazi stuff.
He went on Alex Jones and made Alex Jones seem sane by comparison.
Yeah, he was doing a little nationwide tour with Nick Fuentes for a while. And then, yeah, as I mentioned, Milo Yiannopoulos apparently worked for him. And then that guy, who's a fucking weirdo provocateur, was so freaked out by Kanye's behavior that he started pleading to the public for help.
Yeah.
And calling out the beefcake dentist. So very odd.
Apparently, Kanye deactivated his Twitter account shortly after the ad aired because I guess his work here was done.
I mean,
Or someone stole his phone from him and was like, I'm doing what you are too high to do yourself.
yeah, maybe it was the naked wife.
But the damage was done. And listen, we're sure it's not the last we heard from Kanye. Now that Trump is back in charge and hate speech is back on the menu, boys. Elsewhere over the weekend, Trump's attempts at dismantling the federal government through Elon Musk and his Gooner squad have continued to face legal challenges because, shockingly, most of his executive orders and nearly all of the actions taken so far by Doge are in fact illegal. Not even in like a technical sense, just blatantly a violation of like on its face, the separation of powers outlined in the U.S. Constitution.
Yeah.
But it looks as though the administration is already signaling that it has no intentions of listening to any of those woke DEI judges.
That law is actually a DEI law, and so I do not care.
Founding fathers, they were a bit woke too. Why are we listening to them? In fact, Trump has already ignored at least one court order, and Assistant to the Vice President, J.D. Vance, jumped on Twitter to claim that judges aren't allowed to control the executive's legitimate power, which he knows for a fact isn't true, because that's exactly what the separation of powers were intended to do. Also, didn't you go to law school?
Yeah, he famously graduated from Yale Law, so he's
The Yale Blood one, too.
yeah, so he appears to be lying intentionally.
This is real basic shit. You don't even have to go to law school for this. You just have to take any U.S. government high school class.
Well, this all started on Saturday when a federal judge blocked Elon Musk and his Doge team from accessing sensitive data at the Treasury Department. Here's ABC News. A federal judge in New York granted the 19 states suing over Doge's access to highly sensitive taxpayer records a temporary restraining order. Judge Paul Engelmeyer wrote that the court believed the plaintiffs would face irreparable harm in the absence of injunctive relief. That is both because of the risk that the new policy presents of the disclosure of sensitive and confidential information and the heightened risk that the systems in question will be more vulnerable than before to hacking, the judge wrote. This, along with what we assume was a broad reference to the other legal roadblocks that their administration has faced, caused J.D. Vance to go on Twitter and completely fabricate the idea that the judicial branch can't keep the president in check.
Yeah, and that's particularly rich coming from a Republican when they've spent the last 4 or 5 decades packing the courts with their judges of choice to do exactly that, to be a check on democratic power, but anytime it's Uno reversed on them, what? You can't do that.
Yeah.
That's not allowed.
Here's what J.D. Vance said.
If a judge tried to tell a general how to conduct a military operation, that would be illegal. If a judge tried to command the attorney general in how to use her discretion as a prosecutor, that's also illegal. Judges aren't allowed to control the executive's legitimate power. I love these guys just doing illegal things constantly and then deciding new things that actually are illegal.
Yeah.
Like Elon multiple times in the past couple of weeks has said, that's illegal. You have committed a crime, to things that are not crimes or illegal. Yeah, but so this tells us that no one should be surprised when the Trump administration, and by extension, Doge, just completely ignores these rulings because what are you going to do about it?
Yeah, who's going to enforce anything? Yeah, I don't know. We're actually, at this moment, testing what the guardrails even are. Yeah, they are touching the third rift.
Founding fathers failed to consider, what if the president was just a huge asshole who decided not to follow the rules?
Yeah.
Did you think about that, Thomas Jefferson? You fucking idiot.
What if the president was just a fat old man who was too lazy to actually do anything, so instead his government was just being run by tech oligarchs, including Peter Thiel and, of course, Elon Musk?
Well, we'll find out.
Yeah.
We are finding out. Yeah, a federal judge says that Elon Musk or Trump can't do something. They continue to do it. Then what? Then what? What happens then? Yeah, that's what we're going to find out. And in all honesty, we don't have a lot of faith that anything will happen because someone would have to do something. They have to actually enforce the rules. We'd love to be wrong about this, but so far it seems like Trump is not worried at all about legal repercussions. And why the hell would he be? He just dodged like 3 dozen felony charges and a bullet.
Yeah.
For his part, Musk was just posting about how the federal judge that blocked Doge is protecting corruption and should be impeached.
Yeah. Yeah, obviously, if you don't let Elon Musk and his band of 19-year-olds look through every shred of the US government's data, they're clearly hiding something.
Also, another thing that's funny about all this is turns out like the vast majority of like information and screenshots that Elon's tweeting out about like the fruits of his investigations are all like it's stuff anyone can fucking look up. It's publicly available and it's all audited. And yes, any person with a computer can look that shit up on the internet and pull up the exact same information. But he's acting like he's like digging around back there with a magnifying glass and stumbling on all these secrets.
Yeah. Well, far be it for anyone to question the Trump administration in any capacity. They've got the mandate of the people and the mandate of heaven. And now that he's in charge, everyone in the media should just read all of the White House statements and Truth Social posts as fact with no other analysis. Yeah. At least that's what one Fox News host said on air. Well, apparently just going a little mask off for a second, unbeknownst to them or not. And just wondering out loud why other outlets don't just run Trump propaganda since his office is just packaging it and releasing it to them. It would just be so much easier. He's putting out the White House statements. Why don't you just read them and shut the fuck up? That's it. Here you go.
The current president's goal is to serve the American people, to run an efficient, bloatless government that actually serves the American people in their time of need and to ensure prosperity. And the fact that the media can't keep up, A, doesn't matter because we're not looking to them for the news anyway. And B, guess what President Trump is doing? His Office of Comms is directly emailing and putting out on Truth Social and putting on the websites every day, all day, all exactly what they're doing. So all you have to do, legacy media, is simply repeat, retweet, repost. And that's the news and that's the facts.
Okay, cool. Do we live in North Korea? But while we're on the topic of Trump's never-ending stream of executive orders, here's one that he signed on Monday morning that seems a little suspicious. From CNBC. President Donald Trump on Monday signed an executive order directing the Department of Justice to pause enforcing a nearly half-century-old law that prohibits American companies and foreign firms from bribing officials of foreign governments to obtain or retain business.
What now? What reasons could you possibly have for doing that?
His reasons are literally everyone else gets to bribe them. Why shouldn't we? Quote, "It sounds good, but it hurts the country," Trump said of the Foreign Corrupt Practices Act as he signed the order at the White House. Many deals are unable to be made because nobody wants to do business, because they don't want to feel like every time they pick up the phone, they're going to go to jail. Trump said, referring to U.S. anti-corruption efforts. Nobody wants to work with us. Everyone's always trying to take him to jail for clearly breaking.
You can't do business without a cop breathing down your neck.
Yeah. Hey, you gotta break a few eggs to make an omelet, and those eggs are very expensive. If you can even get your hands on them. They're very rare. Yes, but he will get around to solving the egg crisis any day now.
So cool. We're legalizing corruption. Certainly, there won't be any unforeseen issues that can arise because of these seemingly short-sighted decisions. Take the whole USAID mess, for example. Trump, and more specifically Musk, fed it into the wood chipper for reasons that are unknown, but mostly woke. And we're already starting to see the results of this abrupt end to USAID, specifically in Africa, where soup kitchens that were stocked with food from USAID are no longer able to feed people. Here's the Washington Post with more. Soup kitchens can no longer feed the hungry. First responders are unable to reach the dead and wounded. Mothers and fathers search in vain for the medicines that keep them alive. Across Africa, in bombed-out Sudanese cities, Kenyan clinics, and Mauritanian refugee camps, the policies of the Trump administration are already having profound consequences for some of the world's most vulnerable people.
Last week, thousands of stop work orders went out to employees and contractors for the United States Agency for International Development, or USAID. USAID suspension has halted national food programs serving millions and shuttered hundreds of community kitchens that operate in areas too dangerous for big agencies to enter. An internal report prepared by aid groups providing health services in Sudan and shared with the Post said more than half of the 10 million people targeted to receive health care probably would lose access because of the cuts. One medical group, which had treated more than 19,000 civilians, mostly women, in the past 2 months in Darfur, said it could no longer offer services without alternative funding. The stop work orders have also grounded efforts to contain a deadly hemorrhagic Marburg outbreak in Tanzania, the spread of an Mpox variant killing children in West Africa, as well as the monitoring of a dangerous bird flu that has been identified in 49 countries, according to Atul Gawande, the former head of global health at USAID. Consequences aren't in some distant future. They are immediate, he wrote on X.
Marburg is, that's bad fucking news. That is scary.
Yeah.
Ebola gets all the attention.
All press.
Ebola, everyone knows about Ebola. Ebola's out there winning all the awards in the Disease Academy Awards. Marburg is like Ebola-like. It's not good. There's a book called The Hot Zone that's about mostly about a Marburg outbreak, and it's fucking terrifying. It's not a disease you want out of control in any fucking way at all.
Yeah.
Anyway, if for some reason you only care about domestic issues, well, where do you think all the ingredients, food, and supplies for this aid came from? A whole hell of a lot of American businesses and farmers just took an immediate financial hit by losing these contracts.
Yeah.
And for how long? Well, no one knows. Maybe forever?
Who knows?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Once again, from the Washington Post, U.S. businesses that sold goods and services to USAID are in limbo. That includes American farms, which supply about 41% of the food aid that the agency, working with the U.S. Department of Agriculture, sends around the world each year, according to a 2021 report by the Congressional Research Service. In 2020, the U.S. government bought $2.1 billion in food aid from American farmers. Purchases and shipments of U.S. food aid worth over $340 million, including rice, wheat, and soybeans, have been paused during Trump's foreign aid freeze, according to officials and an email obtained by the Post. Seemed like it was working pretty well, but now they're just going to dump all that wheat in the lake. Let the fish have it.
Well, also on the chopping block in recent days, anything even closely resembling a DEI initiative or any phrases that could potentially be tied to our country's greatest enemy, which is, of course, diversity, equity, and inclusion.
The axis of evil.
Over on Judd Legum's Popular Info, he acquired a memo that was distributed to National Security Agency leadership listing 27 words that are banned moving forward. And also, it demanded that the NSA delete any websites or internal network content that contain the banned words. And despite taking a great risk of potentially losing our channel by uttering these offensive words, brace yourself. These are the words that the Trump administration have deemed way too naughty.
Shit, piss, fuck, oh, wait, no, those were George Carlin's 7 words that you can't say on television. Here are the Trump administration's 27 words that you can't say at all.
Yeah.
Anti-racism, racism, allyship, bias, DEI, diversity, diverse, confirmation bias. What? Equity, equitableness, feminism, gender, gender identity, inclusion, inclusive, all-inclusive, inclusivity, injustice, intersectionality, prejudice, privilege, racial identity, sexuality, what? Stereotypes, pronouns, transgender, equality. I feel like a lot of these probably have a lot of usage outside of the double meaning, the specific meaning they're targeting here.
Yeah. How is Eric Adams going to get his all-inclusive trips to and from Turkey? We'll get to him in a second. But yeah, there's a lot of words there that you would assume could get caught up in some kind of filter that they're using to just mass delete a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, I saw like some scientists posting on BlueSky over the past couple of weeks of like being told by their bosses to just go and like find and replace. Like,
oh yeah,
because like in the scientific, the word diverse it's not talking about race all the time. It's talking
the Latin word in there.
Like so they're just like having to do this like workaround. Yeah, it sounds like they come up with synonyms to words.
It's like how the TikTok kids go around saying suicide and other things.
Great.
Yeah, and unalive. Yeah. So that's what scientists are doing now to keep research alive. Cool. Anyway, all those words that we just said definitely gonna get some people very angry at us.
Probably delete them all.
Yeah.
I can already hear the alarm bells on YouTube's back end going off, fining us multiple credits for violating the verbal morality statute,
but we don't care.
No, we don't care. We're not on board with that.
No.
But it's okay because today's episode is sponsored, so it doesn't matter. YouTube, do what you will.
Yeah.
Because Turtle Beach is sponsoring this show and shielding us from demonetization
and shielding our ears from bad audio.
Their big turtle shell is protecting us from YouTube's censorship.
Winter has arrived, but don't panic. That's not a bad thing. It's an excuse to cancel all your plans, slap on your Turtle Beach headset, and game until the sun finally decides to come back. For a marathon winter gaming session, you're going to want the most comfortable headset in the world with superhuman hearing technology. Turtle Beach's new Gen 3 Stealth 700 headset picks up so much crystal clear sound, it's basically cheating. Even if the snowblower is going off outside, you will hear every footstep, every reload, every enemy sneaking up on you like they're stomping through your living room in tap dancing shoes.
And Turtle Beach headsets are so freaking comfortable, you'll feel like you're wearing a marshmallow cloud pillow on your head. Best of all, the Stealth 700 has the industry's first ever crossplay dual wireless transmitter system. That means you can seamlessly switch between your consoles and PC with just a click of a button. And it gets even better. While being connected to your console, the Stealth 700 can connect with your phone for music streaming or taking calls at the same time. Imagine listening to Kendrick Lamar while going on a kill streak in Call of Duty. For a limited time only, get 10% off your entire order with code TODAYDAILY at turtlebeach.com. Don't miss out, stay warm, and level up your game with 10% off at turtlebeach.com using promo code TODAYDAILY. New year, new gaming gear.
And we've both been rocking this headset for a while now. I've been playing the new season of Diablo 4, and a lot of sounds in that game. A lot of things to listen to.
Many sounds.
Not only is it super comfortable for those long gaming sessions, and it definitely gives you the sound quality and the edge that you need, the battery life is insane. It is very nice having a wireless headset that you almost never have to think about charging. We all have that one friend whose headset always seems to die right when you're down to the last two teams. It's got boogers in it. It's gross. But Turtle Beach's Stealth 700, booger-free. And it has an insane 80-hour battery life with quick charge, so you rarely have to think about charging it. And they don't have just amazing headsets. They have every gaming accessory you could ever want, and they're all high quality at prices that don't break the bank.
And all booger-free.
From flight and racing simulators to controllers, keyboards, and mice. Turtle Beach is the ultimate gaming cheat code. So, this winter, forget the cold, grab your Turtle Beach Gen 3 Stealth 700 and level up your gaming experience. Head to turtlebeach.com, use our code TODAYDAILY for 10% off your entire order. That is 10% off your order at turtlebeach.com with promo code TODAYDAILY.
Back to the news now. And remember that tiny little pointless trade war that Trump kicked off against Canada and Mexico last week?
You could forget, with everything that's going on, we almost got into a significant trade war.
Yeah, a little trade war.
Our two neighbors, yeah.
So that was the one that only lasted a few hours before everyone agreed there was a stupid idea. Remember that? Well, I guess Trump found a workaround because on Monday of this week, Trump raised tariffs on steel and aluminum imports to 25%. You probably already know where this is going, but where do you think the U.S. imports a majority of its steel and aluminum from?
Yeah,
That's right, Canada and Mexico.
we really love sticking it to our best trading partners and geographical neighbors. Don't he said I couldn't do it, but I found a way.
Here's Reuters with more. The tariffs would hit allies as the four biggest sources of steel imports are Canada, Brazil, Mexico, and South Korea.
Let's delay the four of all your best friends. That's just
Jesus fucking Christ. Monday's tariffs almost immediately drew criticism from Canada, the largest source of steel imports. Candace Lang, president and CEO of the Canadian Chamber of Commerce, said that Trump was a destabilizing force in the global economy. Correct. Today's news makes it clear that perpetual uncertainty is here to stay, said Lang.
That is the nicest way to put it.
Yeah, and it's true. Like, this has not been good for the markets. The S&P and the NASDAQ, the Dow, they've all kind of flatlined for the last, basically since the election. Yeah. It's fluctuating here or there, but you look at it and it's got a steady climb of the last.
Like, what the fuck is happening? What's gonna stick and what's real and what isn't?
It's uncertainty is bad for markets.
Continues. Glenn Stevens Jr., executive director of Mish Auto, said that the auto industry would likely need to raise prices in response to the tariffs.
What?
No. I was told it would lower prices. In turn, higher prices would decrease sales and hurt companies' bottom lines, leading to fewer factory jobs.
No, do the opposite.
If you look at sudden tariffs to a system, there isn't a lot of good that comes out of that, said Stevens. His remarks challenging Trump's own statements that his policies would stimulate massive gains in auto industry jobs. So, aside from that, another slightly bizarre but seemingly less consequential move from Trump this week was his announcement that the U.S. might do away with the humble penny, which, you know what, fine. Yeah, fine. He can have this one. You know what? Go do it. Make sure this one occupies all of your time.
What am I supposed to suck on?
Nothing tastes better than a mouthful of pennies. Am I right, boys?
Yeah, no, this is good. This is, I feel like a lot of countries in the EU, not all of them, but a lot of them got rid of pennies.
Yeah, it is a long time. It's kind of fucking pointless. I mean, this is this is something that has had bipartisan support in the past, and people have been wondering when this would even happen for decades.
The only thing is, we're like one of the few countries that does sales tax the way we do it.
Yeah, usually it's priced in.
Yeah, they'd have to do something about that because
Then you'd be rounding up. And it certainly wouldn't benefit you. It'd probably
yeah, if it's a round up, I don't like that.
No.
How about you just factor in the tax to the price?
like every other, so Canada, of course, did away with their penny, and they're still alive up there for now. So got their loonies, the counties. So sure, why not? And he has a decent reason too. Surprise, we kind of agree. Pennies cost too much. They cost way more than they're worth.
They more than pay for themselves in flavor.
They actually cost nearly, according to the U.S. Mint, 4 times what they are worth. So it seems pretty fucking
You
fun.
can't put a price on money, though, can you, folks?
Actually, you can't.
Oh.
And it's 4 times the penny.
You can. So yeah, according to the U.S. Mint, it costs nearly 4 cents to make 1 penny. And for what? So I can burden the barista with my leftovers? Here, you throw this. You figure it out. So I can spend years filling up a gigantic jug and hurt my back trying to take it to the Coinstar to get counted so I can get $10 out of a fucking machine. Not even $10 cash, $10 an Amazon dollar.
And I'll tell you something, if you got kids, they're stealing money out of that all the time. We used to do it.
Yeah,
My buddy Chad, his dad, he never filled that jug. We were buying.
I keep putting money in here and it just never fills up. Here's the Associated Press with more on the death of the penny. President Donald Trump says he has directed the Treasury Department to stop minting new pennies, citing the rising cost of producing the 1-cent coin. For too long, the United States has minted pennies, which literally cost us more than 2 cents. This is so wasteful, Trump wrote in a post Sunday night on his Truth social site.
Presumably on his flight back from the Super Bowl, when he decided to go out against the penny.
Yeah.
He saw one because he had to go to the regular people. He saw a penny and it pissed him off so
Why
much.
not interact with any regular people? I have instructed my Secretary of the U.S. Treasury to stop producing new pennies. The U.S. Mint reported losing $85.3 million in the 2024 fiscal year that ended in September on the nearly 3.2 billion pennies it produced. Every penny costs nearly 3.7 cents, up from 3.1 cents the year before. The Mint also loses money on the nickel, with each of the 5-cent coins costing nearly 14 cents to... Wow, what are we doing?
Yeah.
It is unclear whether Trump has the power to unilaterally eliminate the lowly 1-cent coin. Currency specifications, including the size and metal contents of coins, are dictated by Congress. Okay, well, they're
Again,
I wonder how's he gonna bypass Congress? What? Just wake up today?
how's he gonna wriggle his way out of this one?
We're a month into this shit. You know what he's gonna do.
Dude, the conservatives are gonna be out burning their pennies.
That's right.
No, they should swallow them. Yeah, that's how you get rid of them.
Yeah.
Delicious pennies. Obama said you can't lick the penny anymore. But now that Trump's in charge,
Yeah.
I'm getting them all over my fillings.
I'm gonna go protest and stop licking pennies. Stop swallowing your pennies. No, we need pennies. I love the penny. And they're gonna film themselves just guzzling pennies.
In 20 years,
And I'm gonna be so owned.
there's gonna be an Adult Swim show that gets a bunch of like kids hyped up on the taste of the penny. You wouldn't know. You wouldn't know. It's a very distinct flavor.
I mean, even our generation, we didn't get the full effect because our pennies are mostly zinc.
Yeah.
Back in the good old days.
Oh yeah.
When it was copper. Oh baby.
The electrical charge. Yeah. I don't know why we're on this conversation. I've never put a penny in my mouth intentionally.
I don't think I have either.
Yeah.
But they smell weird. They smell like
blood. It's
yeah.
yeah. So out of all of the things that Trump has done or tried to do in his first few weeks back in office, this one is pretty low on our list of things to care about.
You know what? Let him focus as much of his energy on this.
Exactly. Though,
In fact, I'm gonna go out right now and say, please, no, Mr. Trump, sir, do not
my precious pennies.
No, don't.
From my cold dead hands, Mr. President. From my giant water jug in a closet.
No, I love my pennies. I need them.
The one that is creating a dent in the floor because it's so heavy.
He should remove Lincoln from the penny and put his own face on it.
He wouldn't put it on a worthless coin like that.
That's right. He should bring back like the $1,000 bill. Put his face on that.
No, I wouldn't be surprised if this were just the first step towards just deleting all traditional currency, enforcing everyone to use the blockchain. And those,
Well, I don't like that.
no, you're gonna have to get the Trump bucks on the blockchain to buy your eggs. And they're all Fabergé. going forward because they're way too valuable to just eat and prac. But speaking of bizarre decisions, you would assume that it would be way too obvious and openly corrupt for Trump to pardon a corrupt politician simply because he kissed the ring, right? Well, no, because Trump has officially pardoned former Illinois Governor Rod Blagojevich. Hello, kids. Do you remember Rod Blagojevich?
Yeah, I do.
Oh, you don't because you're under the age of 25?
It's one of the funniest political scandals. Dude's a fucking moron.
He was caught on audio trying to sell a Senate seat.
I'm doing corruption. Just so we're clear, what I am doing is fucking corrupt.
He wasn't even just selling any old Senate seat. It was President Barack Obama's Senate.
It's a big God. I used to know like what he said on the tape like by heart because I was watching a lot.
I got something so malleable.
Like it's a big fucking deal here. Yeah. Not just giving this up for nothing.
So he is the guy who tried to sell Barack Obama's Senate seat and was indicted and convicted on charges including wire fraud and extortion.
See, guys, you just kiss the ring, you play nice, and old Donnie, he can make all your problems go away. And nobody exemplifies the proper way to shine Trump's shoes like current New York City Mayor Eric Adams, who didn't even have the chance to get pardoned because Trump just went ahead and directed his Justice Department to officially drop all of the pending charges against Eric Adams.
It's a pre-pardon.
Almost certainly just because Adams has been meeting with Trump and agreed to help facilitate ICE raids in New York City. Or going forward, literally anything the president asks of him because he's now owned by the president. He said he won't be criticizing him publicly. That's all. He's going to keep it to himself.
And you've seen mob movies. First, they're like, okay, yeah, you're nice to me. You do this thing. I'm going to direct the Justice Department to drop these charges. It's not going to stop there. He's going to have a lot of requests from Eric Adams, and just as easily as he made those charges go away, I'm sure Trump can find something else because it's fucking Eric Adams.
Right. So, hey, Eric, the fact that, it's not a pardon, it's just, well, we're going to dropping the charges. That doesn't mean they can't come back at some point.
Yeah,
he owns him.
Under the thumb of Donald Trump now.
Also, again, we covered...
His freedom is on the line.
That's covered this pretty extensively when it first dropped a few months ago. This man, they got him dead to rights. Yeah, he definitely did that shit.
Text messages, just banner statements.
Yeah, really dumb corruption, but just very corrupt and not surprising at all if you know anything about Eric Adams.
But it's absolutely wild that, one of the top 3 cities in the entire nation, the mayor of that city is quite literally could be blackmailed at any moment or threatened by the president in a very real way, in a very legal, real way.
It might be too late, but the governor of New York really fucked up here because she could have removed him as mayor just when the charges were filed.
Yeah.
But she chose to trust the fucking process and look at where we are now.
Yeah, well, this worked out for Trump.
If you live in New York City, the deadline for registering to vote in the primary is this week. So register to vote, make sure you're registered.
Because he can get voted out at the end of this year.
Well, the primary's in June, I think.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it's New York. So otherwise you'd have to be a Republican beats him in the general. He has to lose the Democratic primary to really not get reelected. So anyway, here's CBS News. The Department of Justice told federal prosecutors in New York to drop their corruption case against New York City Mayor Eric Adams, citing his restricted ability to help the Trump administration enforce its immigration policies. They admit it.
Yeah.
Acting Deputy Attorney General Emil Bove sent a memo instructing prosecutors in the Southern District of New York to abandon the charges. You are directed, as authorized by the Attorney General, to dismiss the pending charges, Bove wrote in a memo Monday, adding that the department reached this conclusion without assessing the strength of the evidence or the legal theories on which the case is based, and in no way calls into question the integrity and efforts of the prosecutors who brought the case.
Yeah, this is pretty airtight, but you know what, just
listen, I'm not saying you didn't have a really great case there, but he's a lot more useful to us as a pawn.
Yes.
The decision to drop the charges will still need to be formally submitted by prosecutors and approved by the judge overseeing the case.
And yeah, in the hours that followed this announcement, Adams has already instructed New York City officials to, quote, avoid criticizing the Trump administration. And here's the New York Times with more on that, which again, this is just the beginning. This guy is totally owned for the next couple of months. Mayor Eric Adams on Monday urged a gathering of high-ranking New York City officials to refrain from publicly criticizing the Trump administration over concerns that such criticism could endanger federal funding for the city's priorities. The mayor convened the morning meeting with his deputy mayors, agency heads, and legal counsels to allow them to air their concerns about how the city has responded to President Trump's policies, including on immigration, according to 3 officials who attended the meeting. The mayor said that if he were to comment on social media about Trump administration immigration policies, for example, it would not help the city get funds for public housing or schools, and could put at risk $2 billion worth of infrastructure projects, 2 of the officials said.
So it seems like Trump has, to quote Eric Adams, Trump has made his haters his waiters at the table of success.
Yes, yeah. Well, to me, it sounds like straight up corruption where he is. Also, like, by the way, he's threatening to withhold federal funding, stuff that's been earmarked for us anyway. He's going to take that away if we're not really nice to him.
Yeah, but Trump is going to let him rename the city New Istanbul.
Yeah.
Because what is York even? No,
We need to go back to Constantinople.
Yeah. So in his frantic warnings to city officials, Adams has confirmed what everyone already knew. Trump is already using mafia tactics to get what he wants out of cities that didn't vote for him. He will punish them unless they fall in line, and he will withhold funding or support if anyone makes fun of him online or in public.
It's been really kind of fascinating to watch any press event where Trump is present with the people that he's installed in his administration, because the first thing they do when they come to the mic is heap praise on Donald Trump for he's a good boy, a solid like paragraph.
Who's a good boy?
And then they get into whatever they're talking about, and it happens with every person. It's pretty crazy.
But it looks like California might not have to worry about Trump much longer, because in response to his attempts to buy Greenland, Denmark has pitched an offer to buy California.
Yeah.
Obviously, this was done as a joke because, sorry, not for sale.
Yeah, we just won a total cultural victory with Kendrick Lamar at the Super Bowl halftime show. We are not interested.
Yeah.
In
But also, I like Denmark. I've been to
not a bad place.
I've been to Copenhagen a couple times. It's a lovely place. But not Greenland's not for sale either. So I don't know. Let's hear the pitch. If we're dignifying any of this, yes, we are.
Yeah.
This comes from the Daily Mail, but who cares? It's never going to happen anyway. So, Danish campaigners are proposing to buy California from the United States and turn it into a territory of Denmark in response to Donald Trump's bid to acquire Greenland. The Denmarkification campaign says it seeks to crowdfund $1 trillion to purchase the U.S. state, after which it plans to instill it with Danish values and make the most of its sunny weather and resources. I mean, we've already got Solvang.
Yeah, so it'd be really easy. It's the Solvangification of Southern California.
You know what? I think that'd be fine.
In the beautiful Chumash Valley. Yeah. The campaign to help Denmark buy California, because why not, was started by Xavier Dutoy, and its online petition has racked up some 200,000 signatures in a matter of hours. Promises include renaming the state New Denmark and turning its Disney resort into Hans Christian Andersen Land, complete with a Viking helmet wearing Mickey Mouse. The page suggests that the lofty fundraising goal of $1 trillion could be easily reached if every Dane pledged just 200,000 kroner, or $18,000. It promises to imbue the state with Danish customs and values, saying, and sorry for butchering this, we'll bring hygge to Hollywood, bike lanes to Beverly Hills, and organic smørrebrød to every street corner, before adding rule of law, universal health care, and fact-based politics might apply.
You know what? I'm down.
You know what? We are for sale.
I mean, listen,
That 2-block stroll through Solvang really got to me.
Yeah.
And now I want everywhere to look like Solvang.
I'm over being part of the United States, so I'm exploring all possible options.
Yeah, we are taking this under consideration. I'll get back to you, Denmark.
I'm open to it.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
And it's about time for Copenhagen to come back and put Zin out of business.
Yeah.
If you're a real man, you do actual tobacco.
That's right. We're bringing it back.
Not tobacco.
But anyways, thank you to James Williams. Again, everyone go buy the Answer for It VOD while you can.
Yeah, it's only up for a limited time.
It was a real blast. I had a great time.
We got the Grad Chant CTE on play. Forgot about that. So check that out, please. Obviously, we know it costs money, but it costs money to produce that show.
Yeah.
James is not making money off of this, so it's a great time. You can support what he's doing by paying to watch it, and you'll get it's 90 minutes of entertainment.
Yeah,
you're gonna love
it's a whole ass show.
But in the meantime, we'll be back for more tech news and all that kind of stuff. But make sure you click the like button on the video, because that helps us the most directly. It's instant, it's awesome, we love it. Leave a comment, talk about anything you mentioned today, or just throw your keyboard in the trash. Tigers all over. You ever see a guy wave by to a keyboard? Yep, once. And then I got a Turtle Beach. Anyways, we'll see you soon. Our other videos are popping up here. Watch those, and we'll see you soon. Bye. Bye.
Objective capture in progress.
Hello, it's me, Minecraft Steve, and welcome to another episode of Ethan Klein's Content Nuke being dissected quickly and succinctly on specific points that he tried to make within it. So this time we're going to be going over Ethan Klein's incredibly compelling evidence that he was pro-Palestine, which he mentioned in the video. As you saw in the previous video, Ethan Klein was very much against a blockade against Israel and its allies in order to stop shipping that was associated with them and put pressure on them to force them to stop doing genocide. In the rest of his video, he also revealed that he is vehemently against pretty much every single resistance action against Israel. He very clearly believes that it's wrong for anyone to militarily fight back against Israel in any context, whether they are Palestinian or some other country standing up for Palestinians. But there was one thing that he seemed to endorse, and that was charity, because he brought up the fact that he had made a donation to a Palestinian charity as pretty much the only evidence that he had of him supposedly being pro-Palestine, whereas everything else seems to point to the opposite. He was very proud of this, and he genuinely seemed to believe that mentioning this was evidence of him being pro-Palestinian. You know, a millionaire like him throwing $6,500 at something, which for him is nothing at all. We're supposed to just believe that's a huge deal that proves his goodness in spite of all of the Zionist propaganda that he's doing. And I think probably the best part about this is that he says it immediately after he frames like Zionist fears and painting of Palestinians as a like evil demographic threat in their own homeland. He does that, and then he immediately moves on to talking about how pro-Palestinian he is. It's absolutely crazy.
Israel as a Jewish state, and considering the historical context of Jews being pogromed from Arab countries, is it really that crazy for them to not feel safe as an ethnic minority? Even
Is it really crazy for us to keep out our genocided, colonized victims? And then he moves so fluidly from this into just framing himself as a Palestinian ally because he made a donation.
a little bit. And that's pretty much the entirety of our disagreement. Despite what you've read on TikTok and Twitter, I've donated $6,500 to a Palestinian charity after the war started.
Hey, Ethan Klein, thank you for the dono. Ethan Klein gave $6,500. My goat. Thank you, Ethan.
Securing C.
Okay, he donated $6,500. So let's see what Ethan actually thinks about donations. Much bigger donations, in fact.
That's Creators for Palestine raised $1.6 million. That's fantastic. Literally negligible. They've received billions of fucking dollars. It's a good thing. Has $1.6 million had an outcome on anything happening in Gaza? Absolutely fucking not. Has it helped people? Sure. Has it helped fucking the actual, like, movement? No. Like, raise money, that's good. That's the easiest fucking thing you can do is just give money, right? Good. Let's talk about real activism. Let's talk about enacting meaningful change. Total fucking failures. And to address your point...
So $6,500 proves that he is a virtuous pro-Palestinian saint. $1.6 million, negligible. Nothing. Does nothing at all. Totally useless to the movement. And if you're asking, you know, well, what is it that Ethan Klein thinks is actually useful to the movement? Well, he's against everything else as well. He's against literally everything. He thinks actual meaningful action, such as blockading Israeli and allied ships in order to put actual material pressure on them, is wrong. He thinks fighting back against Israel, whether you are Palestinian, Iranian, Lebanese, literally anyone, he thinks that's wrong as well. In fact, he even argued. He argued in this video that wanting to blockade Israel, to put pressure on Israel and its population, to force the government to stop doing genocide in Gaza, he argued that's the same as supporting the Holocaust. Look, I'm not kidding. I know it sounds unbelievable. I know it sounds like I'm making it up, but he literally goes from Hassan Piker like talking about how the intention of the blockade is to put pressure on Israel to cause discontent among the population so they stop doing genocide, they leave Israel or some stuff like that because they can't get their frivolous little treats anymore like their Amazon Prime deliveries. And Ethan Klein's reaction is to straight up say, oh, you want them to be in death camps, don't you? That's what you're saying.
It's like a hostile. They're streaming this? Yeah. Yeah. They're flexing. What? And they're coming in hot with guns. Yeah, but you have to understand, this is a deterrent. Israeli society is going to start getting upset. They're going to be like, I can't get my treats. I can't get my Amazon Prime deliveries. What the fuck is going on? I hate this. Israel sucks. I'm leaving Israel. That's the goal.
I find it disturbing that Hassan thinks that a slowdown of imports is going to cause Jews to flee Israel.
Just Jews. Like, he's so excited to say the word Jews every time.
Crimson. This is ours to lose.
80% of Israelis were born there and do not have citizenship anywhere else. So where do you want them to go, Hassan? Back to Poland or back?
He flashed the picture of the fucking Auschwitz death camp. Like, so donations don't count. Donations aren't real activism. That's not effective. That doesn't help the movement. Also, you can't do a blockade against a country actively doing genocide because that might cause some of the people there to want to immigrate when they can't get their treats anymore, and that's tantamount to the Holocaust. Also, he's against literally any military action or resistance against Israel, no matter what, no matter who. He's just against all of it. Let's take a look at what Ethan and Gila Klein, his terrorist wife, think about protests for Palestine, like just normal protests, you know, nothing else. Like, literally not donating, not actually fighting back against Israeli genocide, not blockading Israeli ships so they can't get their Amazon Prime deliveries because, you know, that would be the Holocaust. So let's check what they think about something as simple as protesting.
But people who would like to criticize the army in Israel need to understand that it's a daily threat that something needs to happen about it. It's not like we have
Palestinians are a daily threat.
a choice.
Do you find it ironic when there's these, when you talk about privilege, let's talk about someone who's going to UC Berkeley, paid by their parents, $200,000 tuition on campus protesting Israel. Do you find that ironic?
So privilege is not being an Israeli who lives at the expense, especially like Ethan, who chose to move to Israel, who lives at the expense of Palestinians every single day on their land, massacring them, oppressing them for your benefit. No. Privilege is protesting for those people.
I do. When I lived in
These are millionaires, by the
Israel, I
way.
used to criticize Israel a lot.
Yeah,
like,
me too,
as an
actually.
Israeli.
Yeah.
As an
the army.
Israeli. Only the people who benefit from the settler colonial project are allowed to criticize. I'm sorry for interjecting so much. It's
A
just
lot of
so
stuff.
bad.
But when we moved here and I started to go on Reddit and stuff like that, and just being more aware of like the online criticism and there's
It's not just online, but it's
not just
general.
online.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just became more aware of like the criticism here of Israel and in general around the world, and it's really I personally think it's so ironic. It's just like, I don't know, it's kids sitting here in like beautiful California criticizing, like you don't even know what you're talking about.
Right. Yeah, totally. And I mean, it's easy to reduce. It's funny because, like you said, when you're in Israel, you're super critical of the government. You're like, dude,
No, you fucking aren't.
you're expanding the West Bank. That's bullshit. You know, the government is turning off water in Gaza, doing weird shit to control, make land grabs and stuff. And that kind of stuff is like, yo, what are you guys doing? But when you come to Israel and then what you hear is people criticize.
They genuinely think the only people who should be allowed to say anything negative about their settler colonial project made for their racial benefit. Ethan even chose to move there. Again, I have to emphasize that he chose to move there and receive racial benefits just for an accident of his birth at the expense of Palestinians. They genuinely think the only people who should be allowed to criticize that are themselves.
Criticizing national security and calling Israel like apartheid, and that they shouldn't have fences, or that Israel should be.
You mean when you come here and you're here?
Fences to keep your victims out. Fences to keep the people you stole your land from out. So they are against donations. 1.6 million is nothing, but $6,500, that's a lot when you need to leverage it to pretend that you're pro-Palestine for the purposes of making a Zionist propaganda video. Protest? That's the definition of privilege, buddy. Protesting for Palestine. Posting on the internet, criticizing Israel, that's also out. That's also, the definition of privilege, the definition of irony as well. Blockades, that's definitely out. Blockading Israel, boycotting it, sanctioning it, anything like that. That's tantamount to Auschwitz. It's like wanting to put Jews into concentration camps all over again. It's the Holocaust. And you better believe actually fighting back against Israel is even worse. The fighting back against Israel is like 10 Holocausts, basically. Ethan Klein has not seen a single pro-Palestinian act that he supports, but it's especially ironic that the only thing that he has to point to him apparently being pro-Palestinian is a little token donation that he made once being a millionaire, an amount of money that's nothing for him. And then he comes out and belittles others who donated 246 times more than him. So yeah, what else is there to say?
Fuck you.
opposite. This is original AP reporting. Xinjiang eases its grip, but fear remains. Tourism. That's why Hassan uses the word tourism. It's in the fucking title, because tourism has returned there. It says here, the razor wire that once ringed the public buildings in China's far northwestern Xinjiang region is nearly all gone. Basically, it's an article about how the repression in Xinjiang has largely ceased. And it's from 3 years ago, 4 years ago almost already. And Ethan Klein is here talking about weird death camps and organ harvesting. So the article that Hassan mentioned is right there. And the articles that Ethan went over that, according to him, prove the opposite of what Hassan was saying, do not even remotely approximate doing that. Most of them are just the AP reporting on what other people have said. Ethan does not go into analyzing the evidence or anything. He's just like, look, this made-up court that anti-China group made said there's genocide in Xinjiang. Whoa, dude! Great! Why didn't you type Xinjiang AP News tourism into fucking Google? Like the first evidence-based attempt to justify something based on the evidence that Ethan Klein makes in the entire video. And it's him somehow not finding the article. It's him fumbling completely at basic research.
Hassan has happily eaten up the Chinese propaganda on this and has regurgitated
How?
It to his mainstream audience. Why is he defending China's genocide of their Muslim population?
When have you demonstrated there is a genocide of that Muslim population? You've done nothing. Nothing that even remotely approximates that. You made an insane claim of there being death camps and organ harvesting, and then retreated from that to just human rights abuses, which can be a massive spectrum of different things, but which aren't specifically genocide at all. Where is the evidence of your claims? You do not prove a single fucking thing here. If anything, you just completely failed to do basic research in encountering the fucking article that he's actually talking about.
How does this...
Again, he's from 3 years ago. Like, this shit is practically ancient at this point. Like, the claims of Uyghur genocide are from, like, 2017, 2018, 2019. The system of repression has been largely dismantled since then. It was largely dismantled already 3 years ago. And you're still talking about this, not as if it's currently happening, but as if there's literal death camps. Like, death camps, you have to understand, it's a very specific thing. Death camps, it's a term that only really applies to 6 German camps. I think it was 4 or 6, one of those two numbers, in World War II, where they killed Romani and Jews and some other people as well. Camps specifically built to kill people. And he's claiming there's like analogies of like the Auschwitz death camp in China. An utterly insane claim, which he's done nothing to prove. Not even close. And we're just supposed to accept Hassan is bad for saying that that's not true. But give me a fucking break, dude.
Even makes sense. It only makes sense if A, he's being paid, or B, he has the political complexities of a 5-year-old. I know.
Yo. Oh, the fucking irony is crazy.
Oh, America bad is a meme that people laugh.
You have literally done nothing to prove the evidence, to show any evidence of your claims. You've got to be fucking kidding me. Your claims here are, there is a genocide in Xinjiang. I'm not going to provide any evidence of that. There's death camps there. I'm not going to provide any evidence of that. This guy said there's not. I'm going to appeal to the preconceived beliefs of my dumb fucking audience, who will automatically believe that this is true, even though not me nor them can provide any evidence of it. And you are the dumbest fucker in the world.
That online. But with Hassan, this does actually seem to be the beginning and the end of his analysis.
2 principles.
I think the analysis is based on the facts in this case, because there's no facts to support what you're claiming.
Let me explain to you 2 principles that you should keep with you, coming from a person who's Turkish, okay? When you look at a situation in the Middle East, you look at what the local government is and who the Western forces are. Never align with the Western forces. So when I look at other
What situation would this be incorrect?
countries, I look at the regional actor, whoever the regional power player is, and then I look at who is backed by the Western superpowers. That's a principle that you could take home with you. If you want to actually be moral, or if you want to be smart about the way you analyze other countries.
So you would expect like this clip, like he plays this clip, and then you would expect there to be some sort of refutation of it afterwards. Like, okay, here's 1 or 2 examples where this doesn't apply to illustrate why Hassan is wrong here. I guarantee you what's actually going to happen is he's just going to play this and then move on to something completely different without actually refuting it.
That's one basic principle that you can take home with you. All of a sudden, magically, you are above on your foreign policy analysis. You're going to be better off than 90% of people that look at the situation.
After seeing all of this, I was already getting uncomfortable with our partnership. I started to wonder if I had any idea who this guy actually is. And then this happened.
We have breaking news out of Israel this morning where Hamas...
This happened. We did genocide. By the way, his wife's a terrorist. Just want to remind you all of that. Ethan Klein is married to Hila Klein, who is a terrorist. Anyway, so I will deal with most of the rest of this when I do actually make a long response to every single word that he says, aside from the Hassan Piker drama parts, because I don't care about the honor of Hassan Piker. But there is one part in this regarding the Houthis, which is just blatant in his level of critical thinking skills, his level of research that is just obviously search bad. Like he went to Google and he searched bad things Houthis. He did this. Ethan Klein tried to justify him being against an anti-genocide blockade being carried out by the Yemeni government on the basis that the ships that they are attacking are unlinked to the genocide. Now, we all know that every single Western country supports genocide in Gaza. Hence, what the Houthis did was they blockaded the shipping of all Western countries and Israel, obviously, in order to put pressure on them to just make them stop Israel doing the genocide. And this is Ethan's debunking of that. He picks out one ship and tells us that this ship was not linked to Israel nor to any Western country. Let's check it out.
Let's review his claims. His first claim is that the boat is headed for Israel. It's not. It's going from Turkey to India. Next claim is that it's owned by an Israeli company. It's not. It's being chartered by a Japanese company, and the boat's owners are registered in the Isle of Man. I'd like to remind everyone.
The owners are registered in the Isle of Man. The ship. Oh my God, he's one of those guys who thinks that a ship's flag is indicative of where it's from, rather than for taxation purposes and shit like that. So let's go back over what he just said. Let's look at the Wikipedia.
Genocide in Gaza.
So let's review his claims. His first claim is that the boat is headed for Israel. It's not. It's going from Turkey to India. Next claim is that it's...
So the ship is owned by Galaxy Maritime Limited. The owners are Abraham Ungar and Yael Ungar. Who is Abraham Ungar? Abraham Ungar is an Israeli businessman. Who is Yael Ungar? Yael Ungar is the wife of Abraham Ungar, okay? They're both Israeli. So, he genuinely shows something on the screen that debunks his own claim. This ship is owned by Israelis. Do you think the Houthis don't know this stuff? They are looking this shit up as they go. They know precisely who owns these ships. They know precisely where they're going, everything. Obviously, they knew this ship was owned by an Israeli. If it was legitimately a Japanese flagged and owned ship, they very likely would not have stopped it. But they knew that it was owned by Israelis and thus they stopped it. Very simple. It's owned by a company that is registered for tax purposes in the Isle of Man. Do you really believe that these people are from the Isle of Man, Ethan? Are you that fucking dumb? Do you think the Bahamas is actually the real headquarters of multiple billion-dollar companies? It has a population of 500,000? Something like that? Ethan Klein, are you okay? Do you need some basic logic lessons here? So yeah, obviously this is an Israeli-owned ship. And this is just demonstrative of Ethan Klein's brain power, that he shows you something on the screen that debunks him. Right there. It's owned by Israelis. It's an Israeli company that is headquartered in the Isle of Man for tax purposes. Anyway, so let's go over two more claims that he makes in here that I think greatly demonstrate his brain power. So Ethan's fantastic brain. He went and typed in Google, bad things Houthis, tell me bad things Houthis do now. And he found an article. What did the article say? Let's find out.
Most fun one. They brought back slavery.
You think the Houthis, Ansar Allah, is doing what...
Okay, so the Houthis brought back slavery. Source, a headline, and another headline. Let's check this out. Exclusive. Houthis restore slavery in Yemen. The source for this is Ashaq al-Awsat. What is Ashaq al-Awsat? Let's find out. This is a paper that was founded with the approval of the Saudi royal family and government ministers, run by a company called the Saudi Research and Marketing Group, which is noted for its support of the Saudi government. The newspaper is owned by Faisal bin Salman bin blah blah blah, a member of the Saudi royal family. So you might already know this, but Yemen has been under attack by the Saudis for more than a decade. The Houthis are the enemies of the Saudi intervention in Yemen. The Saudis have massacred something around 500,000 people in what accurately can be described as a genocide. Ethan Klein is citing Saudi state Goebbels propaganda to claim the Houthis restored slavery. But hey, Who knows? Maybe this Saudi propaganda is actually based on something concrete. Let's check out the sources. Sources close to the group told us. Sources close to the group told us. You know, we swear, trust us. They definitely told us. Yeah, they told us, you know, this Saudi royal family-owned newspaper was told 100%. Several local reports have also confirmed this. Some local reports. Yemeni activists have definitely said this. They told us. We can't even name one of them, but they told us. A civilian even said this. Experts confirmed. A U.S. State Department report said. It's just like this guy who he made up said so. This other guy who he also made up also said so. This is Ethan Klein's source for the restoration of slavery in Yemen. And the other one is an Al Jazeera report based on this fucking report. Al Jazeera, an agency of the Qatari government, which is generally good if it's within the Qatari government's interest to be good, which, you know, the Qatari government is another Gulf monarchy that participated in the genocide of Yemen and that is very much against the Houthis. Incredible source analysis, Ethan Klein. Incredible brain. What else did he say about them? Okay, I'll tell you. But check this incredible epic source analysis from Ethan Klein.
Well, according to this, there's been 1,181 violations committed by Houthi rebels against women.
According to this, according to what? A headline and a random picture with zero context whatsoever. Let's find this headline. So, what is this? According to this, what is this? This is a report only reported on in this specific outlet, Anadolu Ajansi, which is the state broadcaster of Turkey. Now, you might not know this, but Turkey is also one of the countries that participated in the anti-Houthi coalition in Yemen. 1,000 violations, whatever that means. What does a violation mean? Human rights group. What human rights group? What are the violations? Quoting testimonies. So we have testimonies. People saying that something happened to them. And we have reports. So there are two groups cited in here who participated in these reports. One of them has a website, the Coalition of Women for Peace in Yemen. Now, it's very interesting to have a website that is a coalition of women for peace in Yemen that's entirely in English and that says that it's for peace in Yemen, and yet it outright says here, our aim is to free women who have been arbitrarily detained by the Houthis. Now, you would think that an organization like this, that is for peace in Yemen, would document and be against abuses done by everyone, not just by one specific group. That's kind of weird, right? There are a lot of really biased human rights organizations in Syria, for example, but they at least pretend to document and be against abuses done by everyone. Now, it might not surprise you to find that this organization was founded by someone, Noor al-Jawi, who defected from the rebels to the Saudi-backed government and then immediately founded this organization. And now this organization is presented as like a massive representative organization of women in Yemen, when in reality, while it's not at all transparent about its funding sources, it's just a propaganda front for the Saudi-backed former Yemeni government, which is obviously why they specifically talk about the Houthis and only the Houthis. And you click the film, Detained Under the Houthis. 3 brave women have decided to speak out on film against their persecutors. Source, we said so. And they have a trailer. Now, there's no evidence here. There's basically nothing here at all. It's this group, founded by a woman who explicitly defected to the Saudi-backed government under very weird circumstances, founded a group to claim that the Houthis mass rape women, the most generic propaganda ever. And this is what that article in the Turkish government state media outlet is citing, basically. That group and 1 or 2 others that are essentially the same thing. This is not at all a reliable source. It presents basically zero evidence. It's obviously ridiculously overproduced and all in English. It's specifically made for an English language audience, and Ethan Klein does not question why any of this is the case. Detained by the Houthis. I said so. I could make it, Ethan Klein. If this, let me give you a little bit of perspective, okay? I could make a 60-second long video about this with a couple of actors who all accuse you of horrible crimes called Detained by Ethan Klein, Locked in the Basement or something like that. I could do that tomorrow. It would cost me $200. I could put it to terrible music and like buy some stock footage of prison cells and stuff like that. Would that be evidence of you holding 1,000 women or whatever in your basement, Ethan Klein? Ethan Klein, have you ever considered being a bit critical of your sources? Ethan Klein, have you ever considered thinking? Have you ever considered engaging in critical analysis? It's just headline, 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 headline. Saudi government said so. Turkish government said so. Well, I'm convinced. So Ethan has not even remotely substantiated his claims. I just wanted to go over some of the most egregious ones that I saw here in a little short thing. Maybe later, I'm not promising anything, but maybe later I'll go over the whole thing all at once, but that will be like 6 fucking hours. Xinjiang eases its grip, but fear remains. And it's talking about how the oppression in Xinjiang has been scaled back, and that in 2012, Chinese officials declared the camps closed, saying many indeed appear to be closed. So what the Chinese government did at this point is, after global outcry regarding the imprisonment of... Hold on, let me just get... So in total, this is the Xinjiang Victims Database, which is a website that, look, it's not that reliable. It just basically looks at anyone in Xinjiang who has been detained for reasons that are possibly linked to like this supposedly anti-terrorist crackdown in Xinjiang, and documents all of them, and just sort of assumes that all of them are innocent, which, you know, probably is not the case. There was actual terrorism in Xinjiang, though certainly no terrorism would warrant such a crackdown like this with such broad strokes. But they have found at least a little bit of evidence, again, it's not that reliable, for there being around 80,000 named victims in Xinjiang of this arbitrary detention program. Now that is obviously very bad, unacceptable, massive human rights violations, but genocide is a massive stretch. Death camps is a comical thing to say. Even if, you know, we were to say, okay, this is an underestimate, perhaps it was, you know, 3 times more. 200,000 people in total imprisoned for suspicious reasons over the course of 6-7 years. Again, obviously very bad, unacceptable, but genocide is a massive, massive, massive stretch. And what this article is about how the previous sort of re-education camp system was shut down. A couple of prisons were built in its place to house people who apparently weren't worthy of being released. Don't know why. I don't know if they're guilty or not. Do you know if they're guilty or not? I can't read Chinese. I can't look up their cases. Undoubtedly, a lot of the people who are still being held, at least in the tens of thousands, probably didn't really do anything that warrants them being held. And that's a travesty. To call this genocide, especially after what we've seen recently in Gaza, it is really ridiculous. And it's especially ridiculous for Ethan Klein to call this genocide so easily, given the fact that he supports the existence of Israel. Israel is a country that for its entire existence has done to Palestinians what Ethan Klein thinks that China does to Uyghurs in Xinjiang. The very existence of Israel is based on the principle of as many Jews as possible, as few Palestinians as possible, as few Arabs as possible. It is a country founded by people who moved there specifically to form their own ethnic supremacist, ethnic exclusionist state for themselves at the expense of those who were there before them. It was founded on the expulsion and killing of at least 800,000 people, and since then it has terrorized and brutalized those same people in order to maintain its existence. If this is genocide, if your threshold for genocide is this low, then how is the Israeli state, whose existence as that sort of ethno-state, whose continued dispossession of its victims you support, how is that justified? How is that not genocide? Why are your standards so selectively applied? Israel is literally like the real world manifestation of what these people imagine happening in Xinjiang for 80 years. And it's ludicrous that they throw these terms so out there so easily in circumstances that are nowhere near as clear as those of Israel, yet he outright supports the existence of Israel.
Very different vibes in Xinjiang, and now, you know, it's the tourism hour.
Let's see what the Associated Press actually had to say about this. These are all AP articles from the last 2 years. UK independent body reports China committed genocide in Xinjiang.
Okay, let's look at this UK independent body. So the Uyghur Tribunal is an independent people's tribunal based in the United Kingdom aiming to examine evidence regarding the ongoing human rights abuses against the Uyghur people. Let's make clear what this actually is, okay? The Uyghur Tribunal was an initiative of this organization called the World Uyghur Congress, which is partially funded by the NED, aka the US government, and it's literally just a fake court that they made up in order to declare that China did genocide, and then the court declared that China did genocide. Incredible source, Ethan Klein. Amazing. Good work.
China sanctioned a U.S. research firm and 2 individuals over a report about the human rights violations in Xinjiang.
I just want to note here, this is human rights violation. There have absolutely been human rights violations against Uyghurs and Kazakhs in Xinjiang, also against other minorities there. But human rights violations is a lot different to genocide, okay? Ethan's original claim was there are death camps where Uyghurs are being mass organ harvested. This is very far away from what he was initially claiming, from what he presented as Hassan Piker denying any sort of human rights abuses or arbitrary detentions of Uyghurs in Xinjiang, which he did not do in either of the clips that he showed.
It's the tourism hour.
To China's fury, UN accuses Beijing of Uyghur rights abuses.
Tourism hour.
I went over the UN report on my second channel, if you guys would like, because the UN report on Xinjiang, I mean, it's not perfect, but it is one of the best things if you want an objective, fairly objective assessment of what happened actually in Xinjiang. The UN, the title of this video is a joke. So yeah, I mean, go and watch that. I'm not going to play the whole thing here, but the UN report is at least decent. It does not say anything about genocide. It does talk about things like arbitrary detentions, Uyghurs who left the country feeling unsafe returning and stuff like that.
Uyghur County in China has the highest prison rate in the world.
This is one Uyghur county in China. One in 25, there would be about 10,000 people. They also say that most people on the list were arrested in 2017. This is quite old at this point. Many of the people on this list have very likely already been released. So I think it's kind of weird how very dumb people like Ethan Klein also talk about this as if it's like happening right now, as if it's at its height right now. Like, they do not register new information. For them, like 20 years from now, they're probably still going to be talking about like the 2017 and 2018 crackdown against the Uyghurs in China, if it's still ongoing, exactly as it was back then. They just don't move on. They found their talking point almost a decade ago, and they're just running with it forever.
1 in 25 people is in a Chinese prison.
It's the tourism hour.
I also find it just incredibly dishonest how he plays the tourism hour thing over and over, when the article that Hassan was talking about literally does exist, and it has tourism in its very title. That's clearly what he was referring to here. If you want a point of comparison of a much smaller country overall than China, more than 8 million people per year are arrested and sent to jail, with around 2 million being incarcerated at any one time. So again, the point here is mass incarceration, bad, wrong, obviously not a valid solution to there being a terrorism problem in Xinjiang. However, still not as bad as invading Afghanistan and Iraq and massacring millions of people, and overall, still not nearly as bad as the USA, which this guy outright said at the very beginning of his video he supports and wants to defend. Yet I could never imagine him or anyone like him pointing to the 8 million people passing through American prisons every year and framing it as a genocide. In fact, in order to do so, he has to just straight up lie about what has actually happened in Xinjiang and exaggerate it to a completely absurd degree, to the point that they have death camps harvesting organs from people. Like, you gotta give us a break at some point, dude. Come on.
48 Uyghurs detained in Thailand for almost 11 years are on hunger strike to protest their imminent deportation to China, where they face imprisonment or execution.
This is 48 Uyghurs detained in Thailand for almost 11 years. So they've been in Thailand since before this Uyghur oppression in Xinjiang even actually began. They've been there since what, like 2010-ish? Because I'm assuming this is a fairly old article, at least a couple of years old. And they face imprisonment or execution, I guess, according to them. But again, this is so far from the original claim of death camps and organ harvesting. Some Uyghurs trying to avoid reputation claim that they will be imprisoned or executed if they go back to China. They have been in Thailand since before the supposed Uyghur genocide began, and they say that they could face imprisonment or execution. They say that, trying to avoid deportation. How is this proof of there actually being death camps that are harvesting organs in Xinjiang, Ethan Klein? How is this proof that Hassan denying that's the only thing that you have said, that you said that he denied, is wrong? Because in the clip that you showed, that you seem to believe painted you as correct and him as wrong, he was correct and you were wrong. Not only were you wrong, but you came off like a child who just believes anything they see. And he was like treating you with kids' gloves like very nicely, when what he should have been doing is saying, Ethan, you're like 40 years old. How do you lack basic critical thinking skills like this?
Imminent deportation to China, where they face imprisonment or execution. Not only does this AP article seem not to exist, reading the AP proved exactly the opposite.
The AP article that exists, you could have searched AP News, Xinjiang tourism, and it would have been the first result, Ethan.
Reading the AP proved exactly the opposite. Hassan has...
those articles did not prove the exact opposite at all. If you think those articles proved your claim of genocide even slightly, you have no idea what you're talking about. The only one of them even mentioned the term genocide was like the fake court one. The rest of them talked about human rights abuses and imprisonment and stuff like that. And you claim there was death camps and organ harvesting.
Happily eaten up the Chinese propaganda on this and has regurgitated it to his mainstream audience.
I mean, you're just straight up reporting, uncritically spouting insane Falun Gong propaganda yourself. What Hassan said there is not Chinese propaganda at all. There's not death camps. There's not organ harvesting. He did explicitly say there was re-education camps and stuff like that. And he did cite a really existing AP News article about the crackdown winding down post-2019. If he was eating up Chinese propaganda, what he would say to you, because the Chinese line on this is, no, there's no internment camps. What there are is vocational training camps where we give marginalized Uyghurs opportunities to better themselves. And all of them are there voluntarily. That's the Chinese propaganda line on that. So what he's saying is not even close to that. You're just bullshitting.
Why is he defending China's genocide of their Muslim population?
Like, as I've been saying, and as I'm sure I will reiterate a lot, Ethan is just sort of relying on his audience being very dumb. Because Hassan did not deny repression in Xinjiang there. What he said was there's no death camps. And then he said the camps, like the repression system has wound down. Both of those points are true. And then the articles, like the headlines that Ethan provided with zero analysis, zero critical thought, even taken at face value, do not even remotely prove his initial claim, not even close, of like death camps and genocide. He kind of just relies on his audience believing that there is like this mass genocide in Xinjiang, like Uyghurs are being rounded off the streets like Jews during the Holocaust and stuff, and being massacred in like gas chambers or whatever. He relies on them already having that preconceived idea, so he feels like he doesn't even need to argue against it, you know? Because that's who this video is for. It's for people who already uncritically believe everything that he himself uncritically believes. So he doesn't really feel any need to justify himself. He's just used to arguing from this position of like believing what like 80% of Americans already uncritically believe just because they've seen it said sort of nonchalantly in the media and they never really thought about whether it's true or not. It's an argument purely from the status quo. And it's pathetic, sad. It's just purely making statements based on the knowledge that a lot of his audience is just going to eat them up because they also just uncritically believe in whatever the sort of hegemonic status quo positions are.
Makes sense if A, he's being paid, or B, he has the political complexities of a 5-year-old. I know.
That is just so fucking ironic, man. Like, come on. So it would only make sense to deny that there are Uyghur death camps where they harvest organs if you're being paid. It would only make sense to say that there is an AP article about the repression in Xinjiang being wound down if you're being paid. And the AP article does exist, by the way. That makes no fucking sense. And then you talk about him having the political complexity as a 5-year-old after you just showed us a clip of you being like, I saw a documentary where they say there's death camps and they harvest the organs. They harvest the organs like a little child baby who believes everything that you see immediately. We're supposed to believe that he's the one with the political complexity of a 5-year-old and not you. It's so ridiculous.
I know America bad is a meme that people laugh at online, but with Hassan, this does actually seem to be the beginning and the end of his analysis.
Let me explain to you 2 principles that you should keep with you, coming from a person who's Turkish, okay? When you look at a situation in the Middle East, you look at what the local government is and who the Western forces are. Never align with the Western forces. So when I look at other countries, I look at the regional actor, whoever the regional power player is, and then I look at who is backed by the Western superpowers. That's a principle that you could take home with you. If you want to actually be moral or if you want to be smart about the way you analyze other countries, that's one basic principle that you can take home with you. All of a sudden, magically, you are above on your foreign policy analysis. You're going to be better off than 90% of people that look at the situation.
After seeing all of this, I was already getting uncomfortable.
Okay, so he's not gonna refute that. Because what Hassan said there is broadly correct, and he wasn't saying that you're always going to be right, nor did he say that you should support the anti-Western forces. What he said was that you should oppose the pro-Western forces, which is a very different thing. Now, broadly, what he said there is absolutely correct, and he also did so with the caveat that you will have a better analysis than most people, which is true. Just abiding by that principle, you will have a better analysis than most people, especially Ethan Klein. Ethan Klein needs to respond to what he actually said there and say, no, that's wrong, here's why. Let me give you some examples at least. And even then, Hassan still wouldn't really be wrong because he didn't say that you would end up with like a perfect analysis or anything. He just said that you'd have a better analysis than most people. And honestly, what he said there was only about the Middle East. And in regards to the Middle East, yeah, it's completely true. When there is a conflict in the Middle East and you take a look at like who the US, UK, the EU, and all of those fuckers are supporting, it's generally going to be pretty bad people who are probably going to make things even worse if the Western forces get their way. And even if you get that wrong, your analysis of the Middle East would still be infinitely better than Ethan Klein. So what he said there was not wrong at all. And it's just pathetic that Ethan doesn't feel the need to even provide any counter argument here, just because this video is not for convincing people. It's for people who will see someone say something as obviously correct as you should oppose US foreign policy in the Middle East and be like, oh my God, that guy said the US foreign policy is bad? Does he not support our troops? It's for that sort of intellect. So yeah, he doesn't feel the need to elaborate because it's just not for those of us who like arguments and evidence and stuff like that, you know? It's for brain-dead lobotomized people.
With our partnership, I started to wonder if I had any idea who this guy actually is. And then this happened.
We have breaking news out of Israel this morning where Hamas has launched a surprise attack within Israel's borders overnight.
After the shock of October 7th, I noticed a huge increase of anti-Semitic comments from Hassan's stream and Discord, including from his head mod. I was disturbed that Hassan was seemingly okay with this.
And you do you care that your chat is calling you racist? Do you make any attempt to?
Anti-Semitic comments, they're calling me racist.
I have not looked at my chat.
Moderate that.
I have not looked at my chat at all, but
I just opened it. But don't you have moderators? Do you care at all about what your audience?
Calling you racist in someone else's stream chat should not be allowed. You are a racist, by the way. This is the best you got? No way, dude. There must be more. Surely.
There's about
32,000 people in here right now.
I'm just trying to tell you guys how it feels. And
it feels bad to be called. Well, you are a racist, so you should be called one.
Fucking shocked that you don't care that people in your chat are saying, who the fuck is this child cold, arrogant, Zionist fuck?
I love you, but there's...
You are a Zionist fuck. That's not anti-Semitic to say.
But there's only so much I can do.
How can you be surprised?
Why don't you ban these people for calling me things that I actually am, like a racist and a Zionist? This is, you sure provided evidence of anti-Semitism here, you...
When your Discord is literally full of fucking...
Ethan, I love you, but there's only so much I can do if you're making that argument. You know that, right? Like
Hassan's chat had been calling me a Zionist, baby-killing genocider.
If you're a Zionist, which you are a baby killer, as Israel massacres babies on the regular. That's simple. You support Israel, you support genocide. Israel is innately a genocidal project. How? Simple. Israel is a country formed as part of a long-planned settler colonial project that was always based around getting rid of the people who were there beforehand and replacing them with a Jewish ethnic majority. This is something that is necessarily genocidal because the people who were there beforehand need to be dealt with, aka their culture, their society. Everything about them needs to be at least removed, if not outright deleted from the planet. Ergo, Israel is innately genocidal. Ergo, if you are a Zionist, which you are, you support the existence of Israel, that's what being Zionist means. You are a Zionist, you're a genocider, calling you a baby killer is fine too. Why not? You support a baby-killing ideology. What's wrong with that? This is your example of anti-Semitism. People saying things about you, like insulting you with insults that are broadly applicable to you. It's a fucking joke.
Maybe it is unreasonable that I'm asking him to moderate his chat for a friend. He doesn't even know where I'm coming from because it's not something he would ever ask for.
And all these other content creators actually, you know, whipping their communities when their chat is going fucking absolutely bananas over random dumb shit and bringing my name up for no fucking reason. That you were just allowing that shit to run rampant in your chat, and I thought that was fucked up.
I don't care about this part. I'm just going to play it, and I don't give a shit if Hassan is a hypocrite about moderating his chat or something, okay?
I love you, but there's...
The point is, none of that was anti-Semitic. In fact, all those insults accurately apply to you, to your ideology, and you do not provide any evidence otherwise.
But there's only so much I can do, especially as someone who thought we were fucking friends. I think that's a reasonable expectation for someone who you consider to be a friend.
The problem wasn't that he was pro-Palestinian, because I share a lot of those views, and I've been a stalwart supporter of the Palestinian cause for many years. Problem with
Did you guys see the clips that I showed at the beginning? I've been a stalwart supporter of the Palestinian cause for many years. He called Palestinians arrested in IDF terror raids it. He called Ramallah a terrorist city. He frames Palestinians as like a demographic time bomb. Like, it's like Tucker Carlson great replacement theory sort of stuff. He said that Palestinians are like innate anti-Semites who just lynch any Jew they see. Pro-Palestinian, he said that Yoav Gallant was a great guy. He defended him vehemently. You have to be fucking kidding me, dude. You are not pro-Palestinian. You don't know what pro-Palestinian is, and you want to reframe what it is to not be pro-Palestinian at all.
This Hassan's coverage, and a lot of people like him, was their complete lack of empathy for the Jewish people who were frankly slaughtered by Hamas.
The Jewish people, you know how he changes Israeli to Jew. This is a crude tactic of emotional manipulation commonly employed by Zionists. What he does first is he wants to change the equation. He wants to change what is actually happening in Palestine, which is settler colonialism in the name of Jewish supremacy against Palestinians. Now, settler colonialism obviously breeds resistance. It creates victims who are going to fight back against you. So it's pretty difficult to frame those victims as like being in the wrong, given that events like October 7 are entirely predictable given what Israel has been doing to Palestinians for 80 years. So what do? We reduce them from Israelis, from settler colonists, to just Jews. Jews evoke this image that most people have in their head of a Jew, because most people have never met a Jew in their life. They don't really know anything about Jews. Evoke the image that they have in their head of like a concentration camp in Schindler's List, to reframe the situation entirely from a downtrodden people reacting to 80 years of settler colonial oppression into just Jews being massacred for being Jews and nothing more. Now, October 7th is a million times more complicated than what people like Ethan try to frame it. I suggest you see, if you want a very detailed outline of precisely what it actually was, what actually happened, why it happened, how it happened, I suggest you check out this video, The Gaza Ghetto Uprising by Rev N. Reed, who is an Israeli anti-Zionist, or former Israeli anti-Zionist, I should say. He probably doesn't want to be called an Israeli anymore. But it is an excellent video that goes over everything regarding what actually happened on October 7th, that absolutely destroys the narrative of people like Ethan Klein. I obviously am not going to go over it all here. It's 2 hours long. But this simplistic framing that Ethan Klein needs here in order to be in the right, of just like, basically like Hamas tried to do their own little Holocaust just for the sake of it, right? Like a Palestinian resistance group that exists outside of any sort of place and time, that is just like innately anti-Semitic, that just attack these poor little Jewish people for literally no reason whatsoever, just because they hate Jews, because they were born hating Jews, nothing else. It's ridiculous, and we're getting into it more throughout this video.
He refused to show even a crumb of empathy for the Jewish victims.
For the Jewish victims. Yeah, dude, quite simply, in Israel-Palestine, there is a group of victims and a group of oppressors. I do not care about this pearl clutching for the oppressors, about this reframing of victim as offender all the time. I'm not going to abide by it. No one should abide by it. Thank you, Hassan, if you really did not.
Listen to what this guy has to say.
And as you might have seen, there was some sort of rave or desert party where they were having a great time until the resistance came and electrified hang gliders and took at least several dozen hipsters.
It's not Hassan. That's someone else.
But I'm sure they're doing...
Now, Ethan Klein, let's ask you a question. Let's ask your audience a question. Do you think it's appropriate for people who have committed genocide against Palestinians for 80 years at this point? I'm calling it genocide for those entire 80 years, by the way, because you called Xinjiang genocide. If you're going to call that a genocide, then let me call that what you and your other Israeli friends do a genocide as well, because you've been doing way worse for way longer. So I'm just using your own standards here, my friend. Do you think it's appropriate to hold like a drugged up rave outside of a concentration camp where you keep the victims who were expelled so that you can have your land and house? Do you think that I should have sympathy and empathy for those people? I don't. I won't. I never will. And if that hurts your feelings, if that makes you feel alienated from the movement, then get the fuck out. Simple, succinct, what needs to be said. This is the equivalent of like the Nazis holding a dance party outside Auschwitz on the day that like there was an attempted prisoner breakout and acting like it was the worst atrocity in the world when they get attacked. It's generally just crazy, the reversal of victim and offender here. You know what you do if you don't want to be attacked by the victims who you have imprisoned in a concentration camp for 80 years? The people whose parents, whose grandparents are from the very land that you're holding that rave on, that you expelled them from. You know how you avoid that? You don't live on the land that you expelled them from. How about you don't expel them and imprison them in the first place? How about you don't periodically bomb them for 80 years? How about you don't massacre them and their children? How about you don't keep them impoverished with a genocidal blockade that leaves all of them helpless, with nothing left in their lives except joining a resistance group and hoping to get revenge? You are so out of touch with reality. So disgustingly out of touch. And ultimately, no, I don't think you're out of touch with reality. I think that what you're doing here is attempting to defend the privileges that you have. The privileges that the state of Israel gives to you and yours by trying to frame people like you as victims of your victims. And it's disgusting.
Very fine despite what the New York Post says. But nobody had seen this coming.
I mean, that's insane, right?
Why is that insane?
I haven't even... Yeah, okay. Like...
Okay.
I don't.
Just criticizing people. You don't have to comment if you're not comfortable about it. I honestly felt at times that he and his audience barely thought of Israelis as humans. This dude just called baby.
Like, you guys saw the clips that I played at the beginning, right? He thinks Palestinians are it.
These militants.
No, I understand. And there are baby settlers as well. But there are baby settlers as well. There are babies in the settlements.
Part of running defense for Hamas is...
It's crazy that you would even bring that clip up, given that you support the existence of Israel, which is verifiably a baby killer state. Like, the proportion of babies killed by Israel is obscenely ridiculous. Children in general killed by Israel in Gaza, something like 33%. Babies, something like 15, 25%. Like, you got to be kidding me, Ethan. That's the worst, that's the best that you got?
Downplaying the violence, specifically the sexual violence, which he's done a lot of.
The sexual violence, Ethan. First up, we're going to watch this and we're going to see if he provides any evidence for this supposed sexual violence on October 7th.
Matter if fucking rapes happen on October 7th. Like, that doesn't change the dynamic for me even this much.
What's wrong with that clip?
So that's the other part of this problem that many people can't contend with. Like, the Palestinian resistance is not perfect. They're not, like, so good. They have magical bullets.
Okay, firstly, what he was saying there clearly is that if someone was raped on October 7th, that would not justify the Gaza genocide. That's what he was saying. 2, are you going to provide any evidence of these supposed rapes? Because if not, you're going to get brutalized in a second here.
The Palestinian resistance is not perfect. They're not, like, so good. They have
just rapid fire a bunch of headlines uncritically. Do not provide any analysis of yourself. Just this definitely happened. This definitely 100% happened. Trust me.
Magical bullets is not perfect.
Witness says, like, just look at this shit. Ethan provides zero analysis. It's not even an attempt to form an argument of this mass rape narrative. This is, by the way, straight up blood libel propaganda against Palestinians. There is no evidence of even one person being raped. Let's see in a second. He's going to move on, not even trying to explain any of this, and I'm just going to play a clip that I already made in the past that debunks this narrative.
Of course, if you compare the raw numbers, Gazans have lost a lot more than Israel.
So firstly, as I went over earlier, Ethan himself is a denier of actual verified rapes admitted to by the Israeli state. So it's kind of weird that he would claim that someone else is a rape denier by playing a clip where what Hassan actually said is that even if there were rapes on October 7th, that obviously would not justify genocide in Gaza. Do you disagree with that? If anything, Hassan is way too conciliatory because there's no evidence of even a single rape or sexual assault on October 7th. And that is a fact. Again, I'm going to play the clip here of Ethan Klein, rape denial. Straight up rape denial, based on his feelings.
Frankly, there wasn't much else other than like sporadic, isolated, unconfirmed, kind of nebulous accusations. And I'm not.
That's literally the sort of thing that Ethan is accepting uncritically in terms of October 7th. He's such a fucking little slime ball.
I'm saying it doesn't happen. I'm just saying, like, this one article is the only real significant one that I could find.
He could find. You can't find anything. You don't even know how to use Google. You're 40 years old and you can't do basic research, and YouTube's your job. Anyway, I'm going to play a clip from a video that I made before, and this is me going over a supposed UN report on rapes on October 7th and the evidence contained within it, which explains precisely how and why there is no evidence of any rapes on October 7th. Because there is little to no evidence that it actually happened. The evidence is incredibly sketchy. All of it comes exclusively from a few, very few, individual witness testimonies, most of which are highly inconsistent with later recountings of the same tale. None of these testimonies corroborate each other. There has never been any forensic evidence presented that corroborates any of them. Many of the people who give these testimonies have intimate links to the Israeli state. For example, they are from organizations like Zakat, which works very intimately with the Israeli state. Other testimonies only surfaced far later as part of carefully timed propaganda blitzes by the Israeli state. To put it simply, there is no evidence whatsoever that these testimonies are not simply made up, and they have been utilized by the Israeli state because they simply have no other corroborating evidence. And this is very weird given that the Israelis have a ton of video footage of October 7th, yet on this one point, which their propaganda has been harping on, they have nothing. So yeah, very succinctly, what Ethan actually did there is just like flash a bunch of headlines of these made-up bullshit Israeli witness testimonies with zero corroborating evidence at all, many of which have been inconsistent with later recountings, only cropped up like 6 months later, conveniently when Israel needed them as part of propaganda blitzes because they were spreading this mass rape narrative. And the only reason that I can imagine Ethan Klein is harping on this so much and why he takes so much exception to what Hassan said there, which is that even if there was rape, it would not justify genocide, is that Ethan Klein thinks that if there was rape, it would justify genocide. There's no other reason for him to misconstrue what was being said there so badly and for him to present this debunked mass rape narrative as if it's just self-evidently true without even trying to actually form an argument for it, provide evidence for it. It's fucking ridiculous.
Israelis. 40,000 people have died, and
way more than that.
Neighborhoods have been completely...
They haven't died. They have been massacred by Israel and Israelis. Say it correctly. Now, let's frame this in the correct way. You notice how when he talks about supposed Jewish victims, he says these are like just little baby boy Jewish people massacred for no reason aside from their Jewish identity by the equivalent of the Nazis. When he talks about Palestinians, it's like 40,000 people have died. I'm not really sure how they've died. No perpetrator. I'm not going to name any sort of specific perpetrator. They just died, you know. I'm not going to tell you anything about them. Like Palestinians, I don't want to say that. I don't want to imply they were killed for being Palestinian. You notice the difference in framing? It's so clear.
Flattened during this war. And while we should keep their plight at the top of our minds at all time, it also doesn't mean that we should disregard the lives of the Jewish people who are also affected.
He always changes it to Jewish people. He never says Israelis, always Jewish. Very crude, basic emotional manipulation. The point of this is so that you feel that you can't respond to him because he said Jewish, and if you respond to him, you're going to get accused of anti-Semitism, right? Because he's reducing what are ethno-nationalists, settler colonists, to just simple Jewish people, vulnerable little Jewish people, trying to evoke the memory that most people have in their head of what a Jewish person is, which is like someone in a striped jumpsuit in a concentration camp in the Holocaust.
By this, even if their suffering on the whole is not as great. Some of you may know that I'm an Israeli dual.
The suffering as a whole, the suffering on both sides is caused by Israel. Israel does settler colonialism. Settler colonialism causes backlash from its victims. So it's not like the difference here is scale. The difference is not scale. The difference is the whole context. The difference is the violence of the victims versus the violence of the victimizers. And that's what you are leaving out here entirely.
Citizen. My wife is Israeli. My kids are half Israeli. And
the fact that you are an Israeli dual citizen is fucking horrible. This is not something to your credit. This does not make you more credible. This does not make you more sympathetic. You are an American who chose to move to Israel. In Israel, there is a law called the Law of Return that gives automatic citizenship to who they consider to be ethnic or racial Jews, purely on an ethnic basis. So Ethan Klein, as an American, had the right to move to Israel and be given immediate citizenship. Meanwhile, there are millions of Palestinians in Gaza, in West Bank, and all around the world who are actually from the land that Israel is currently occupying. They and their families were expelled from there. Are they allowed to return? No. No, actually, if they tried to return, they would get shot and killed. So Ethan Klein, an American, brings up the fact that he was allowed to return to a land that he has absolutely nothing to do with. And he was happy to go there. He was happy to be granted citizenship on nothing but the basis of ethnicity, to move into land, homes, area, all, you know, this nice little country called Israel that can only exist at the cost of Palestinians. And he was happy to go there and get all the advantages that this affords to him, that the accident of birth of him being Jewish affords to him at the expense of Palestinians. And he brings this up as if it's a positive thing that makes him more credible. It's the exact opposite. That you are someone you weren't even born in Israel. You chose to move there. That makes you less than credible. That means that, like, anyone analyzing what you have to say should always be on guard and always be incredibly suspicious of your motivations. Because at the end of the day, you are the equivalent of someone who moved from, like, the USA to Nazi Germany to go and colonize Poland. That is you.
My entire in-law is Israeli. I lived there for 5 years, and I grew a closeness with the country.
That's a bad thing.
One of the biggest issues.
If you have an emotional connection to an ethno-state, that's a bad thing about you. You shouldn't think that. That's bad.
Issues between me, Hassan, and his community was that I am in favor of a two-state solution, while they are in favor of a one-state solution. Their theory is that after the October...
So you are in favor of a two-state solution. You are in favor of the existence of Israel. What is Israel? Israel is an ethno-state for one ethnicity that came into being only as the result of the mass expulsion and killing of people who were there beforehand, as much as they thought they could get away with. Therefore, okay, so you support that. You are an ethno-nationalist. You are a Zionist as well, obviously, because that's what Zionism is. And the fact that you want to leave Palestinians with crumbs and keep them out of the land that you and yours stole from them for their own ethnic benefits on an ethnic basis, and try to satiate them by giving them their own, like, Bantustan off to the side or whatever, while they're still barred from returning to their homes and land that you stole from them. Again, on an ethnic basis, in the name of maintaining a Jewish majority and Jewish ethnic privilege in Israel. I don't know how you bring that up so simply like that, like it's nothing. That you're in favor of a two-state solution for on any reason aside from pure pragmatism, like conciliatory pragmatism. Like Norman Finkelstein's position is not like, I think that we should have a Jewish state because we need to maintain a Jewish majority, blah, blah, blah. His position is more, you know, end the suffering of Palestinians at the hands of Israel, try to get like as good a two-state solution as possible to that end. Ethan's position though, oh man, Ethan's position is basically like the Palestinian enemies cannot be trusted. You know, the people who we expelled, who we've massacred, who we've genocided, they hate us. Ergo, we need to keep excluding them.
7th attack, Israel should just dissolve its borders and let Hamas enter Israel unrestrained.
Borders.
What do you think?
It's so weird how he frames this as like Hamas, like all Palestinians are Hamas, I guess.
Israel should have done.
Like he literally frames like the process of moving towards a one-state solution as if like it would not be a process at all, as if like one day Israel would just like say, okay, we're dissolving our state, it's gone, goodbye. And then suddenly like all of the evil Hamas Palestinians at the border all just flood in with their AK-47s and their innate hatred for Jews, and they just take it all over. I don't think this man is sentient. I don't think he knows what's going on around him at all. His framing of the one-state solution is genuinely insane. Like he seems to think it would not be like the end result of like a long process of negotiations, of like smaller settlements preceding it. He doesn't think it would possibly be anything gradual. He just thinks it's immediately like Hamas being like, okay, guys, let's go. Here's our chance. Kill them all. And he said Hassan has the political understanding of a child. I mean, Hassan may, but Ethan certainly does.
In response to October 7th.
Instead of indiscriminately bombing Gaza, I think the first thing to do in that situation would be to dismantle the government in the way that it existed, like get Netanyahu out of power.
Okay. So you're saying Israel in
85%.
response... Hold on, dude. You're saying in response to this terrorist attack, Israel should have dismantled their own government.
First set of actions would be to democratically take...
Here's what Israel does in response to October 7th. Nothing. Israel has no right to do fucking anything. This is Ethan trying to justify the Gaza genocide, by the way. He's trying to justify it quite simply. He thinks that Israel's like had the right to some sort of response. Israel has the right to nothing. Nothing. Just like the Nazis had no right to do anything to the resistance fighters who attack them. Even if the resistance may have attacked civilians or gone too far or whatever, they had no right to anything. Ethan talks about this like we need to give him some sort of response, a loud response that Israel was allowed to do, as if Israel itself is not entirely illegitimate. It is entirely illegitimate.
Netanyahu out of power, yes.
The problem is that Israel's been at war with its neighbors for 70 plus years, and it makes a lot of sense that there'd be some distrust there.
He's justifying Israel attacking and massacring Palestinians and all of its neighbors. What Israel does is complete terror of all of its neighbors in the Middle East, particularly Palestinians and Lebanese, by saying that Israel has been under attack, reframing victim and defender. Israel is not under attack. Israel is a genocidal settler colonial project that can only exist at the expense of others, that has been victimizing its neighbors even before it even existed. And he's trying to frame Israel as a victim itself.
Is it really insane to think that Jews, as an ethnic minority in Israel, would not be safe? After all, Israel is a country of refugees.
No, it's not. Are you a refugee, Ethan? What were you fleeing from?
The Jews didn't come from Europe after the Holocaust. They came from the surrounding Arab countries that expelled them in massive amounts following the 1948 war. In fact,
what war? What else happened? What else happened, Ethan?
There was more Jews displaced than Palestinians during the Nakba. 1 million Jews.
Absolutely, completely untrue.
All of these surrounding Arab countries had...
You notice how Ethan completely ignores everything about the founding of Israel. One, who was there beforehand? Who expelled those Palestinians? If this is a nation formed by refugees, why are these people expelled before these Jews were supposedly expelled, as you put it? Were the people there...
Yeah, we're about to party up here. Sure.
How about now?
I hear you.
You're all right.
You're a little quiet.
Okay, how's this? Is it any better?
Kind of quiet. Maybe
Mic
I
a
should.
little closer.
Should I turn
Still
the-
quiet?
Maybe I should turn up. Second.
Check. Trying to make sure everything's plugged in. All right.
Yeah,
Seems
just always afraid to turn up because I don't want you to get an echo.
Yeah, so far so good. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you good.
Yeah? All right.
I did
Cool.
turn you up a little bit, so if you hear an echo, let me know.
All right. So far so good.
How's it going?
So, pretty good. Pretty good. Yeah.
Sweet.
How's your day?
That's good. It's fine. You know, pretty chill. Just trying to psychologically get ready for the blizzard tomorrow.
Yeah. I meant to look to see when is it gonna start, early or late, or
think
in the middle.
Evening.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
It's like gonna start around midday.
Okay, good. Then I can get out to Elmhurst early. I have to turn on the water at her uncle's house because, just so that the pipes don't freeze, because I read it was going to get cold like later in the week. I'm like, ah, shit, I turned off the water, and now I'm like, fuck, I don't want to get, drive out and
Once the snow comes through, it's gonna be fucking super cold for a while.
Right.
Sucks.
Yeah. And what was the other thing? Oh, yeah, I went there one day a couple weeks ago, and the furnace had gone off. Like, it stopped working.
God.
And I was like, oh, shit. But luckily, I was able to restart it, and then it stayed on, so hopefully it was just a fluke. But I definitely got to get out there tomorrow. I usually go out on Thursdays, but obviously that's going to be, like, impossible, so...
And yeah, the winter's going out with a bang.
Yeah.
It was pretty mild up until now, and now we had some cold. Now we're about to get our asses fucking shit out.
Yeah, I haven't used the snowblower at all. I shoveled a couple times, just pushed the light snow around a little bit, but...
Better warm it up.
Didn't even really have to do that. Yeah, no.
Shit. You got challenges you gotta do?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
You wanna just wanna jump right into it?
Sure, yeah, let's do it.
Cool. Right now I'm grinding. Oops. AR, I think it came out this season, or I'm not sure actually. It's the Cypher 091. Not bad.
Hey, if you remember, can you send me, like, what do you think is a good setup for the Goblin? Because I've been grinding that one, and I have to say my experience with the Goblin has not been good.
Let me do it now before I forget.
Trouble.
I'll do it real quick.
I'm not using it right now. I have to grind SMG on this challenge, so it doesn't matter. I don't need it right now.
For sure, but I will forget if I don't.
Do it anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, all right then.
I'm just gonna send you. See if.
Are you sending it through the Call of Duty or to a text?
I'm gonna send it through box here.
Okay.
There's message. All right, let me know if that works. I can't tell if it was sent with.
Yeah. Yep.
Cool.
Got it. Cool. Thank you. Look for it.
All right, cool.
Okay, I'm ready.
Let me put back on my cipher. I'm really happy that the loadouts like save themselves. Like in the loadouts. Instead of like, you don't have to save them. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, I thought I did. I wasn't sure if I was.
No, yeah, it's
So
yeah.
they fixed that, I did, right? 'Cause
Yeah, I mean, well,
that
it's
was
never
so
been like that before.
Yeah.
If you would like unequipped a weapon, and then if you went back to it, like your loadout would be gone unless like you saved it before.
Right.
You know, but now it's like it keeps it on no matter what, and that's kind of
Oh, thank God.
yeah, super nice.
Good. What about when you prestige level up? Does it keep it, or does it
that probably
wipe it out
resets.
there?
It might wipe that out.
Still does that. Oh shit.
Well, I mean, it's gonna.
Well, at least.
Well, most of. Oh, actually, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure either, because I'm just about to prestige again, so I guess I'll find out.
Yeah, you'll find out.
What is the level of prestige? Is it 56?
Yeah, you have to. Yeah, you get to 55 and go all the way up to 56,
Okay.
and then.
All right. Okay, I'm almost there. I'm at 50.
But honestly, a lot of the guns are like permanently you have a blueprint for any gun, that gun is permanently on. Even if you prestige. So as far as gun unlocks go, it's very generous.
Team deathmatch.
I'm about to move on to the spine camo. Pretty soon. I think I got 27 out of 33 diamond camos that I need to unlock. Like 6 more diamonds and I'm moving out. I think those are all going to be triple kills.
Requesting recon overhead.
UAV MCL 50%. Check.
Now in the kitchen.
Piss off.
Thanks for the work. UAV overflight terminated.
But once I finish leveling up this AR and I finish leveling up the my launchers,
sorry,
I'm it's pretty much everything. There's one launcher I might not touch. I'm doing the Signa right now, and I actually unlocked diamond on it, but I still haven't leveled it all the way up, which is
Eyes on enemy mine.
So I guess I paid for that Terminator. Is it a score streak, but yet it's a gun?
Wait, I'm sorry?
You know, the Terminator bundle that we both bought?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, with Arnold skins.
Yeah, there was like a score streak at the end, right? That most expensive, it looks like a gun.
Oh.
They call it a score streak, but it's a gun, right?
Wait.
It's like, why is
okay,
it
there's two different things.
Okay.
There's the event, which you unlock with the skulls.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking
Yeah,
about.
that's different from the bundle that you bought. You didn't have to buy the bundle, but you could have got. I mean, all the event stuff's all free.
Got it. Okay.
But that is a score streak, and it's like a grenade launcher.
Oh, that's what it is. Oh, okay. It looked like a gun. I was like, I don't really understand this.
Yeah, I have it. Actually, I need to put it on. I haven't. Yeah, I don't know if they've ever put a kill streak or score streak in an event before. Like when the event's over, can you not get it? Oh, the event's actually still going on for like more weeks, I think. Give you plenty of time to do it. I'm almost done with it.
Seems like I've been getting a lot of skulls. And I looked, I was like, oh, I can pay for this thing. So I haven't tried it yet, but
you haven't bought anything yet.
Not besides the
war machine.
Yeah, the war. Or maybe did I buy the calling card with the? No, you don't have to buy it. I don't know.
Yeah, with the skulls, the one with the Terminator eyes. I mean the robot. Yeah. Got that one assigned.
Ah. Fuck. Jesus. There's like some glare on the floor right here. I like to put a spring mine there where it does. You can't really see it.
Oh, where at?
I mean, I guess if you had
in the kitchen.
In the here. Ooh. I marked where it is, like in this kind of living room area. The sun's coming out.
Bedroom.
And it's like really bright. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That'd be good. Oops, sorry, guy.
Some of these places that the maps are set on are these places.
Operating off the
administering stick.
This place, like, I think we're like on top of a mountain or something. We're definitely high up.
Shit.
On their heels. Hit them hard.
Team top 2.
Or to drop.
So, we fucking routed them.
Wrecking it.
G-Money. G-Money.
G-Money.
G-Money.
Sheesh. G-Money. Right. Yeah. Oh, so close.
No.
I wasn't trying to sync it up, but we almost did anyway.
Yeah, it was close. They still got you?
Oh yeah, I'm here. Oh god, like, this is
Okay.
about to unlock this really weird emote where he's like, where he's dancing. I don't know if I like
Uh-huh. Oh, shit! Oh, fuck.
What? What's wrong?
I gotta clean up I just spilled my pop. Hold on.
Sure. I took a sip.
Are all refugees, Ethan? No, this was a long-planned expulsion. This was a long-planned settler colonial project. I've gone over this a million times before. I fucking hate reiterating all of this. Here are videos of mine where you can look into this. This is a video about how Israel was planned as a settler colonial project the whole time, from the very beginning. Israelis are not indigenous. Check it out on my channel. Wait, I'll let him finish what he's saying here, and then I'm going to play another clip from a video that I've already responded to him making this talking point before.
Vibrant Jewish communities and huge number, hundreds of thousands. Now, if you look at them,
He's trying to reverse victim and offender. That's what you always need to remember throughout this whole video. His entire thing is reversing victim and offender, changing the Israelis to the victims and those who rightfully fight against them into being their victimizers.
you're looking at close to, if not literally, 0 Jews left in these countries.
Just to give you an idea, here's a visual representation of the Jewish refugees after 1948.
Jewish refugees after 1948 who fled violence and discrimination in their homelands. That's this framing.
Morocco had 265,000 Jews. Now it has 2,000.
Okay, let's look at what happened in Morocco. This is from my previous video responding to Ethan Klein. I'm just going to let him speak and then I will play my response.
Algeria had 140,000. Now it has about 50. Iraq had 150,000 Jews. Now 10. And I want to give a special shout out to my boy over in Afghanistan.
Sorry about that.
No worries. Everything all right?
Fucking yeah! I dropped my can of soda on the floor and it hit the ground dead like center, and it exploded in fizz volcano.
That's kind of bad, big.
Didn't just tip over; it had to drop it like a bomb. God,
it happens.
All right, I'm ready.
You ready to jump back in?
Yeah.
Oh man. You're not working on any more music or anything like that, or?
Not today. I'm thinking about doing another. I wrote a couple other like punk parody songs. One, I think I shared the one about Pete Hegseth with you.
Yeah.
Which was going to be based off of Too Drunk to Fuck.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that one, or I have another one I did, Anarchy in the Ukraine.
Oh, right.
Anarchy in the UK.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I might try to just have some fun with those for a little while.
Right on. Very cool. I've been doing all sorts of shit. I've been in, definitely got the music bug. Got apps on my phone. I've got this one called Koala, which is kind of fun. It's like a sampler. But you can basically just make noises. It'll you can use the microphone on the phone to make noises, and then you can take those and basically make drum sounds with them and make beats, and then put effects on them. It's pretty fun.
Cool.
I also been messing with amp simulators. Found this really nice sounding bass one called the Growler.
Mm-hmm.
It's free too. If you said you can use plugins, VSTs, GarageBand, right?
Yeah, it's fun when you find one that you really like. You know, when I was doing the Ramones song, I was looking for a good bass tone, and it took a while to find something.
What are you using?
I still got you?
Yeah, you got me. Can you hear me? Oh. Hello? Can you hear me?
Hello? Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Alright, cool.
Yeah, we've both.
Sure, it happened there.
Spectating.
Oh, we're talking about plugins.
Bass amps is the last thing I heard. Yeah.
Yeah, what did you use?
Growler.
Oh yeah, the growler.
Stay on task.
Yeah, check it out. It's free actually. So it's like a distorted bass sound, really dirty. I used it with Ableton's got pedals, virtual pedals. So I threw an overdrive before the growler. Sounds pretty neat. And the growler's pretty overdriven on its own, but it's still it's.
We're winning. Keep it that way.
The extra growl overdrive kind
Giving
of
up the lead.
just makes it. I was trying this guitar one too.
Falling behind, Crimson.
It's really good actually, but I was having latency problems. Like it really sucks. It's impossible to play like a guitar if it's got a latency problem.
The advantage. Now hold it.
It's like you hit the string and then half a second later it makes the sound. It's horrible. I hate it, man.
I'll be back.
But I was doing some research today. I think that could have fixed it. Oh shit.
Hello.
Oh, there you are. Hey.
God, what the fuck? Yeah, I don't know what's been going on. I was in the match, but it said I was spectating right away as soon as we got into the match. And I was like, well, maybe I got killed as soon as I spawned or something. And then I'll be playing, you know, as soon as my turn comes up or whatever. And then I got kicked for inactivity.
Oh,
well, I never got to play the game. It was weird.
That is weird.
Anyway.
There's you got time for one more?
Yeah, sure, yeah.
Sounds great, guys. I'm just...
All right, let's get in here. Do you want to do Nuketown?
Sure. Point blank kills. Gotta get on that.
Yeah, I'm gonna see if I can fix.
I probably missed about 10 minutes of you talking
I'm
about
blabbering on about
plugins
amp
and
sims.
stuff. Sorry about that.
No, it's cool.
Finding stuff you like, though, it sounds like.
Yeah, for sure. No, I was just trying to fix the latency. I mean, I was doing a little research on it. There might be a way to fix it, but if not, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, are you plugging in a guitar or bass and then doing the amps, or are you just doing something else with it?
No, I plugged the guitar straight into the. I got my guitar and my bass. Plugging it straight into the interface, and then
right.
And then I'll run it into.
Then you choose your amps.
Yeah, like I'll run into an amp sim from. And
yeah,
an amp and if it doesn't have one, a cabinet, call it like a impulse response, like a cabinet sim where it sounds like it's coming from a speaker.
Yeah, it's fun to play around with that stuff. It's like, you know, it's like toys, you know.
Yeah, totally.
For grown-ups.
The guitar one, if I can get the latency fixed on the guitar one, it's actually super nice. It's got like different mics you can use. It's got an amp, like a cabinet sim on there too. But it's also got different mics. You can move the position. You can, so yeah, you just do a lot, and it's super heavy sounding. Which is what I like.
Semtex incoming.
Well, right now I'm gonna have to look for some good drum sounds. I was going through some of like the pre-made kits, and some of them are okay, but like there's always like something about it I don't like. So I just need to make my own. Snares are very important. Snare's gotta be hit the perfect spot. You ever heard that album Saint Anger by Metallica? Like the terrible snare drum?
I'm sure I've heard parts of it. I don't know if I ever listened to it for very long, but it has a horrible snare sound.
Oh yeah, it's god awful.
You think their expertise, or any band's expertise, after a while, like, how do they let that stuff how do they not notice, or they
were trying to go for something, and that came out in like the mid '90s. No, I'm sorry, that came out later actually. That was like their comeback. It was like early 2000s.
Like 2004 maybe. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, I think like it was like. I think they were trying to make it sound like new metal, like Korn and shit.
Oh.
Eyes on Watchdog Helo. Semtex incoming. Watchdog Helo engaged.
And they had that stupid movie come out, like the stupid documentary about making that album, and it was
some
all
kind
like,
of monster or whatever.
Yeah, bro, it was all like therapy session. It was corny.
Yeah, though. And somebody got pissed because Hetfield was like demoing like some baby clothes that he was gonna sell, Metallica baby clothes. He was like, oh god, what has happened to us?
It's like, just break up. I just let the band. If you can't do this, and if like it's like you just want to like, you know, doing this is bad for your mental health, but yeah, so you're gonna try to like, if they were in therapy and shit. I think that's why Jason Newsted left because of that.
Right.
He's like, this is no. He's just straight up was like, this is lame.
Yeah, he said like my favorite band that used to rock no longer rocks, so he's like, I'm out, you know, fuck this.
Yeah, and apparently like James was pretty shitty about him doing side projects and whatnot. Smart.
That was just for you.
But whatever. Just used to its fucking side projects. Oh shit.
Hostile LDPR drop detected.
Sounds like they all should have been doing side projects at that point.
Yeah, they all should have
We need to
quit.
get away from this for a while.
Yeah.
UAV identified.
All striking down. Cruising Charlie.
Wow. What is going on out here?
That was a napalm strike.
Jeez Louise.
Must have had a horseshoe up here.
Heads up. Hostile care package inbound.
Like a murder sign. We're on the wrong end of it.
Yes. You're having a good game. Oh, we're all having bad games. You're having the best out of the worst. I don't think any of us are going positive.
Hostile UAV established overhead.
Squad kills.
Taking out.
5 enemies slotted.
That's something's going on, man. I'm looking at the other team. They're like, one guy's like 30 kills, 5 deaths.
Wow.
Like, we're down a guy. I'm gonna pull us out of this. Well, let's finish it up. Let's get it over with. Maybe someone will join here. It's about the sign.
Ah. Yeah, we're getting fucked.
Oh, god damn it. Got electric shock charged. Those are pretty annoying. The guy was sitting by the sign. I snuck up behind him and threw a Molotov at his face. Back of his head.
Enemy UAV inbound. Take it B.
Seize the empty thermal grenade.
Enemy destroyed your trophy system.
This some guy who's just laying on the ground by B and in this corner spot. And
Oh
he's
god damn it.
really
By the
hard to
fence?
kill. I'm sick of this guy. He's like next to one of the cars on the ground. I know there's a couple cars
Oh,
over there.
okay, yeah, sure. Molotov out. Yeah, they're just on their bellies. One's by the sign, one's by the car.
Yeah.
They're just having like murdering everybody.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe
46
we should
kills.
just stop going for B.
Yeah.
Go for fucking.
I'm just gonna bust up my. Yeah, I'm gonna hold back. I'm gonna bust up my sniper.
Enemy UAV inbound.
Oh, come on. Son of a bitch.
Try to get dirty on these guys.
Really?
Got a guy who's sniping assholes. They don't stand a chance now. Go face my snipes. Shit. Guy up on the balcony. I see.
Blast banging.
Oh shit.
Revenge is enough. Blasted, isn't it?
Controlling Bravo. Sit rep. LDPR incoming. Taking Bravo underway.
Yeah, stop running and gunning. Suicide. Just gonna hold back and snipe it. Chill mode spawn. Uh-oh. I hear a patrol car. After knuckle thrust? I don't like that. dude. Fight back,
We are
yeah.
fighting back. Damn it.
We're trying.
Tell me what to do.
Woods.
Ooh. Fucking little bastard on his belly over there. Hate that guy.
Get off your belly.
Dude, I cannot get him. He's like on a corner.
He's got the
Damn,
spot.
he's
You guys probably play a lot
It's over.
of
RTB.
Gucci Mob.
Mover here.
Gucci Mob. Base Gucci Mob. Money. Bird money.
There's me.
This guy's only like second prestige. After knuckle thrust. I'll have none of it. Thank you very much. Don't like you at all. Alright. I think we're gonna get off, get ready for sleep time.
Alright.
I might try to work out some
Yeah.
music, but I might I might just crash. But
Alright, cool. Oops.
Good games. Sleep.
Alright, well, good luck tomorrow. They're making you come in tomorrow.
Oh, they are. Oh, yeah.
Maybe
We'll
they'll let you leave.
I mean, well, if
They'll let you leave early, maybe.
maybe. Oh, that'd be awesome. Oh shit, dude. Now my hopes are up.
Well, I mean, they should. If it gets bad, they should.
That'd be nice. Like try so we can eat the. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe Anna will. You know. Maybe we'll. Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll happen. That'd be cool. I'll be all right with that.
Awesome. All right. Well, be safe out there.
Thank you,
and
sir.
I'll look for you tomorrow.
Hey, and you be safe too if you end up out in that shit.
Yeah. Hopefully, I'll go early out to Elmer's to get back before it gets bad.
Please do. Yeah, be safe out there.
Cool. All right, man.
Cool. Talk to you tomorrow.
Cool. Have a good night.
You too.
Yeah.
And you have a great night too.